Chapter 4778. You guys go ahead and cultivate. I'll go out and take a look, Lin Xian said. The plan had already been made. The dark red dragon and the toad would be in charge of the sect, while he would be in charge of things outside the sect. Of course, Lin Xian didn't leave the sect, but went to the library. He was going to take a look at the absolute arts here. The library was very special. It was called the Magical Arts Valley. Lin Xian was a new disciple, so he had an extra chance to watch at the beginning. Other than that, he would have to complete some missions if he wanted to read more profound ones. For the first time, Lin Xian didn't need any missions. He chose to watch and cultivate the Dupeng seal. He entered the Magical Arts Valley. He saw a figure casting a seal. His palms formed a seal and turned into a Dupeng, dancing between heaven and earth. The Dupeng soared into the sky. The Dupeng spread its wings. Its power was vast and terrifying. Lin Xian's eyes shone with golden light. At the same time, the dragon sword spirit evolved and started to cultivate the Dupeng seal. On the other side, the dark red dragon and the others were cultivating in the spiritual abode, absorbing the energy of heaven and earth and the aura of the spirit vein. At this moment, heaven and earth shook. The array outside shook violently. At the same time, there was a cold snort. Whoever is inside, come out and accept your death. A cold voice sounded. The dark red dragon opened his eyes and the toad jumped out. Who's courting death again? They all rose into the air and looked outside through the array formation. They saw 3 figures standing outside. Their auras were surging like gods and demons. Oh no, it's them. Yuren also flew up. When he saw the 3 people outside, his pupils shrank. Brother Dragon, Brother Toad, these 3 are very powerful. They are also experts on the stars ranking. Their ranking is much higher than Bai Zhen and Imo Duxing. Are they experts on the stars ranking again? And they seem to be from the Dragon Palace. Why, are you here to help Bai Zhen? Kowtow and apologize. Then hurry up and bow. The dark red dragon waved his hand. Courting death. The 3 people outside were Qi Nian, ranked 77th on the stars ranking. Xia Shan, ranked 75th on the stars ranking. Lu He, ranked 72nd on the stars ranking. The 3 people's faces were cold. You dare to challenge the Dragon Palace. Come out and accept your punishment. What about that Lin Xian? Tell him to come out and face his death. You want to challenge us with just you? The toad sneered. I'll only use one hand. The dark red divine dragon's expression was also cold. It seemed that it was time to show off its strength. The 3 of you, scram. Listen carefully. 3 days later, at the primordial battlefield, we will challenge you. You want to challenge me? They laughed complacently. What a joke. No matter how strong Lan Zhiyu was, he only dared to challenge someone ranked 90th. The 3 of them were all ranked in the 70s. They were much stronger than Tai Zhentian. Could these newbies really contend against them? Qi Nian's face was gloomy and cold. He was about to make a move. He felt that Yi Futian was courting death. However, Lu He stopped him. It was fine. He would give them 3 days. 3 days later, he would defeat them in front of the world. Don't you think it's more interesting? Let's see if they still have the face to continue living then. Okay. Qi Nian smiled as well. Enjoy the last 3 days. 3 days later, it will be the day of your death. The 3 of them sneered and left. After returning to the Dragon Palace, they explained the situation. Lan Zilu also nodded. Very good. He would take this opportunity to severely injure or cripple them. At the same time, he sent someone to spread the news. It would be best if everyone could watch. In just one day, the news of the newbies challenge spread again. Someone challenged the 3 in 7 years. Countless people were shocked. Who was it? They were so reckless. Could it be Lan Jiu again? No, it wasn't Lan Jiu. It was Lin Xian and the others. They wanted to challenge Lu He and the others. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard this. Were Lin Xian and the others really going to make a move? Great, they couldn't miss it in 3 days. In the Dragon Palace, in the Spirit Mountain, Lan Jiu opened her eyes. Were Lin Xian and the others going to challenge Lu He? She didn't think that the 3 of them could succeed. At this moment, she had already joined the Dragon Palace and became a member. She had condensed the aura of the Tao of Dragon. She felt that she had become even stronger. There was no need to watch the challenge in 3 days because she felt that the outcome was already decided. It was better to continue cultivating. When the time came, she would directly challenge the top 50 on the stars ranking and become famous. In the Magical Abilities Valley, Lin Xian was still comprehending the Great Rock Seal. He didn't know what was happening outside. But even if he knew, so what? He wasn't worried. The dark red divine dragon and the toad were very strong. Soon, those people would know. 3 days passed quickly. On the primordial battlefield, countless people had gathered. They were discussing and guessing the outcome of the battle. The people from the Dragon Palace walked over. They sneered. There was nothing to guess. Those people would definitely die. No one could defeat the Dragon Palace. That was true. Now that more than half of the True Path sect's geniuses had joined the Dragon Palace, who would dare to challenge them? You're too confident. Wait until you succeed. In the sky, the dark red divine dragon and the others descended. There were 3 of them. The dark red divine dragon, the toad, and Nalan Liang. Yuren was in charge of watching the house. You guys really dared to come. Qi Nian looked at the dark red divine dragon and sneered. He frowned. Just the 3 of you. Where's that Lin Xian? There's no need to look for him. He won't come because the 2 of us are enough to kill you guys. The dark red divine dragon and the toad walked out. This time, it was the 2 of them. There were only 2 of them. The surrounding people were in an uproar. Lin Xian wasn't coming again. A sneer was heard. It seemed that this guy had used despicable means to get first place. That's right. He didn't even dare to participate. On a mountain peak, Baizhen gritted his teeth. That brat wasn't coming. But that was good too. He would deal with the 2 of them first before dealing with that Lin Xian. Cut the crap. The toad jumped out and looked at the 3 people in front of him. Are the 3 of you coming together or one by one? I definitely won't hold back. Do I need the 3 of us to deal with you? I'll do it. Qi Nian walked out. He was ranked 77th on the stars ranking. He stood with his hands behind his back, with flying swords revolving around his feet. He said coldly, I'll give you a chance. Make the first move. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. How dare you look down on me? You'll end up in a miserable state. The toad sneered and used the lightning technique. He turned into a stream of light and appeared instantly. Then, he used the big toad slap technique and slapped Qi Nian's face with both palms. Qi Nian's face was instantly smashed. He flew out and blood dripped from the sky. He roared crazily, damn it. Go to hell. With a roar, thousands of sword lights flew out from his body. The surrounding people exclaimed. They didn't expect Qi Nian to be at a disadvantage right from the start. Chapter 47-79. What? Weren't you going to let me have 3 moves first? Did he make a move so quickly? The toad sneered. Trash who goes back on his word. Qi Nian snorted and said, I take back my words. I don't need to show mercy to trash like you. Go to hell. Sword controlling technique. Qi Nian used his soul to control the sword qi. It was a terrifying sword raining technique. No wonder they were ranked 77th on the stars ranking. Baizhen and Imo Duxing were much stronger. The toad moved quickly like lightning, dodging the imperial sword technique that filled the sky. Then, it slapped down with its palm. He smashed one of Qi Nian's arms into a bloody mist. Then, he spat out poisonous gas all over the sky and quickly infused it into Qi Nian's body. Qi Nian was shocked. He did not expect his opponent to be so strong. By the time he wanted to fight back, it was already too late. The poison completely exploded in his body. His entire body turned black and he collapsed to the ground. He was bleeding from his 7 orifices. The toad stepped on the other party's face and sneered. You want to fight with me? You are not qualified. The surroundings were silent. What had happened? The battle was over. Wasn't this too fast? Did he have 3 moves? Damn it, Xia Shan rushed over. The people of Dragon Palace also looked gloomy. They checked and then cried out in alarm. They were poisoned, and the poison was very deep. Hurry up and treat her. Soon, people from Dragon Palace carried Qi Nian away. Xia Shan walked out with a cold expression. How dare you use poison? Despicable. The toad sneered. So what if he used poison? There were thousands of great Daos, and poison was one of them. How was it despicable? If you're not strong enough, admit defeat obediently, kowtow to me 3 times, call me ancestor, and I'll spare you. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. This toad was too arrogant. However, they were extremely shocked. That was because the other party was very strong. Being able to defeat Qi Nian was enough to show how strong the other party was. However, Xia Shan was even more terrifying. Could the toad succeed? On the mountain peak in the distance, the dark red divine dragon and the others sneered at this scene. Whitey also hugged the spiritual fruit and squeaked. Toad, come on. Defeat them. I'll give you fruit to eat. Don't worry, I'll kill him in 2 moves. Toad turned around and waved his hand with a smile. Xia Shan shouted angrily. He waved his hands, and the ground cracked open. Countless stone hands flew out. He was an Earth-type saint. The toad kept dodging as it sneered. You're no match for me. He spat out a poisonous mist that filled the sky. Xia Shan had long been prepared for this. He unleashed countless shields and earth walls to defend himself. At the same time, he formed a seal with both hands. The seal of myriad mountains. Tens of thousands of mountains descended from the sky, suppressing the heaven and earth, covering the entire battlefield. The toad was also suppressed. It was over. The people of Dragon Palace laughed. Baizhen also revealed a sinister smile. He had finally dealt with one of them. Xia Shan snorted. Qi Nian lost because of his carelessness. Otherwise, how could he have won? Ouch, it hurts so much. You've angered me. Toad, attack. Amidst the mountains, a figure appeared. He turned into a stream of light and rushed over, directly piercing through the thousands of mountains. How could this be? Xia Shan's pupils shrank as he formed seals with both of his palms. An endless wall was formed in front of him to block the attack. 6 shields surrounded him. The strongest defense. Boom. The toad was also using an ultimate skill. It pierced through countless obstacles and landed on the Six Paths shield body. The 6 shields were shattered and Xia Shan's body was torn apart. Damn it. Xia Shan retreated. His broken body healed but his face was still pale. Defeated again. Countless people were shocked. This toad was too powerful. It had defeated 2 experts in a row. The toad jumped up and waved in all directions. Fairies of the Dao sect, I'm still single. I'm staying in the God Manor. Fairies who like me must come and find me. How could this be? Nailin Liang was stunned. The people of Dragon Palace turned black. Damn it. They wanted to use this battle to suppress the other party. Who would have thought that they would be the ones losing face? Xia Shan, come back. I'm impressed. Lu He walked over. He was ranked 72nd and his strength was even more terrifying. The toad jumped back. The dark red dragon walked over. Was there a change? Countless people were shocked. Lu He snorted. Why was the toad afraid of death? Crawling snakes would also die. The dark red dragon roared. Your whole family is the crawling snake. Its body enlarged, turning into a 100-meter-long dragon. It swept across the land. It was actually dragons. Countless people were shocked. Dragons. How could they fight against the people of Dragon Palace? They were too surprised. Lu He shouted angrily. I have the aura of the Tao of Dragons too. There were indeed a few auras of the Tao of Dragons around him. They rushed out, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, turning into dragon shadows. The dark red dragon sneered. With your Tao of Dragons, you want to fight against an emperor. He activated the blood of the divine dragon, and the few auras of the Tao of Dragons directly collapsed. Lu He's face turned pale. He took a few steps back. Damn it. It seemed that it was impossible to use Dragon Chi in front of the other party. He would use his ultimate skill. Galaxy Blade Light. A blade slashed out, turning into a galaxy that descended from the sky. The dark red dragon sneered. Dragon Blade. Countless scales formed a dragon blade that also slashed out. The 2 blades collided. Heaven and earth shattered. The ancient battlefield also surged. After one attack, the dark red dragon put away the dragon blade. Lu He's body was cut in half and he was seriously injured. You can't even withstand a single blow. You want to challenge us with your strength? Are the people of Dragon Palace trash? Countless people were in an uproar. Did he end the battle with one slash? This dragon was too powerful. Was he challenging dragons? What enmity did he have with Dragon Palace? Countless people were shocked. Impossible. Bai Zhen was horrified. Lu He was also defeated. This group of people was actually so powerful. No wonder he was no match for them. The people of Dragon Palace also had gloomy faces. The 3 experts they sent out had failed one after another. It was a complete slap to their face. Should they continue? Several people were discussing. The situation was unexpected. These 2 guys were very strong, and Lin Xian hadn't appeared yet. Let's go back and report to Senior Brother Zilla first. The people of Dragon Palace took the injured Lu He and the other 2 and left. The toad sneered. Go back. What Dragon Palace? Let's go. The dark red dragon snorted. This was considered a small test to let the people of Dao sect know that they weren't to be trifled with. Whoever dared to find trouble with them in the future would have to weigh their own strength first. Both parties returned, and the news of this incident spread like wildfire. Countless people exclaimed in surprise. The newcomers who entered this time were really too strong. First, it was Lan Zhiyu who succeeded in his challenge. Now, it was a dragon and a toad who succeeded in their challenges. For a moment, everyone felt a sense of pressure. At the same time, some people were discussing. What about that Lin Xian? Would he be stronger? The atmosphere in Dragon Palace was a little tense. Lan Zilu's face was cold. Did all three of them fail? He didn't dare to believe it. Lan Zhiyu also came out of Spirit Mountain. When she heard the news, she also took a deep breath. How could it be? The other party actually defeated Lu He and the other two and obtained a higher ranking than her. She gritted her teeth and entered Spiritual Mountain again. If she didn't break through this time, she wouldn't come out. Chapter 4780. In the Magical Abilities Valley, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He had already mastered the Seal of Dupeng. If others knew about this, they would be stunned. This talent was too heaven-defying. One had to know that the previous geniuses had spent a lot of time cultivating the Seal of Dupeng, but Lin Xian was much faster than them. Of course, part of the reason was that Lin Xian was very talented. The other reason was the Dragon Sword Spirit. The Dragon Sword Spirit could deduce these mystic arts, so Lin Xian was able to cultivate with twice the result with half the effort. After leaving the Magical Abilities Valley, Lin Xian browsed through many ancient books in the Dao sect. He knew that there were many sacred places in the Dao sect. Not only that, but there were also sacred places in the Holy Abyss ancient city. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to go to the places where the ancient sages had gone to gain some insight. The Holy Abyss ancient city was very big, and there was a place called the Holy Cliff. It was said that this was the place where many ancient sages went to gain enlightenment. There were even legends that said that the ancient super powerhouses had fought a shocking battle here. Therefore, although the Holy Cliff was full of opportunities, it was also very dangerous and filled with endless killing intent. At the Holy Cliff, there were two figures. One was a white-haired old man. The other was a beautiful woman. The old man's face was dark. His body was stained with blood, and it was obvious that he was injured. The woman in black looked anxious. Both of them carried black giant swords on their backs. "Grandpa, are you okay?" Dugu Xiaoyi was very anxious. "Wait until we get back to the family to cure you." Dugu Su sighed. "I'm old and useless. This time, I fell into their trap and got poisoned. But don't worry, I won't die anytime soon." Someone was coming. Dugu Su frowned, and a cold sword light flashed in his eyes. Dugu Xiaoyi became nervous and clenched her fists. Was the enemy here? Deep footsteps came from the front, and then a figure appeared. Dugu Xiaoyi and Dugu Su looked over. They were stunned. They realized that it wasn't the enemy they had imagined, but a handsome young man in black robes. His eyes were deep and profound. Who was this? Was it a new enemy? They looked over, and when they discovered that the other party was only a middle-stage Saint King, both of them let out a sigh of relief. Even if such a person was an enemy, they would not be afraid. From the looks of it, the young man did not seem to be an enemy at all. The young man looked around curiously as soon as he arrived, as if he had come specifically for the Holy Cliffs. Dugu Su retracted his gaze and said in a low voice. There was no need to bother. The Saint Cliff was the place where the ancient sages descended. It was normal for people to come here to gain insights. As he spoke, he took out a large battle robe from his storage ring and covered his body to cover his blood. Dugu Xiaoyi also sat down cross-legged and pretended to cultivate. However, she was actually vigilantly observing her surroundings. Was this the Saint Cliff? As expected, there was a mysterious aura. Lin Xian looked around in surprise. He had heard about the uniqueness of the sacred cliffs and had rushed over. After arriving, he felt that there was something unusual about this place. At the same time, he also saw two figures in front of him. Both of them carried huge swords on their backs. They seemed to be swordsmen. What surprised him was that the old man in front of him was not simple, but his aura was very weak. Although the old man was trying his best to suppress it, there was still a black aura on his face. He had been poisoned. However, he could still tell that the old man was injured. With the great sage's cultivation level, he was injured to this extent. It seemed that there had been a great battle. Retracting his gaze, Lin Xian did not continue to pay attention. He found a place and sat down cross-legged to gain insights. Dugu Xiaoyi heaved a sigh of relief. The other party was not coming for them. Dugu Su's expression also eased a lot. He took out a pill and swallowed it. However, the poison in his body was very strange. He could only suppress it for a while but could not expel it. As night fell, the starlight fell from the sky. This made the Saint Cliff even more mysterious, forming a unique vision of heaven and earth. Lin Xian was naturally happy about this. He came here to gain insights. However, Dugu Su's face was cold. He was afraid that the poison would act up again tonight. While Dugu Xiaoyi was guarding him tightly, a cold laugh came from the sky. So you've been hiding here. However, even if you're at the Saint Cliff, do you think we can't find you? Two voices were heard. Then, two people descended and sealed the surroundings. Oh no, the enemy is here. Dugu Xiaoyi suddenly stood up, his expression changing. Dugu Su's eyes also shone with a shocking light. The two prides of the heavenly sect, you've chased me all the way here. There were two figures. One was wearing armor, the other was wearing a sword robe. They looked young and were top geniuses. Moreover, they seemed to be from the heavenly sect. They were geniuses from the heavenly sect. Dugu Xiaoyi's pupils shrank. He had naturally heard of these two people. They were top experts on the heavenly sect's profound ranking. The one in armor was called Blue Demon, while the other in a sword robe was called Saber 9. Both of their abilities were terrifying. Dugu Xiaoyi was no match for them at all. Of course, his grandfather was not afraid of them. However, that was when he was in peak condition. At this moment, his grandfather was seriously injured and poisoned. He could not even use 1% of his strength. Facing these two people now, he was afraid that he would be in danger. Is the heavens going to kill me? Despair appeared in Dugu Su's eyes. Dugu Xiaoyu looked around. Their surroundings had been sealed. There was no way to escape, let alone hope for help. Suddenly, she saw a figure at the foot of the mountain in the distance. The man was sitting cross-legged, still cultivating. She sighed. If the other party was also a top powerhouse, that would be great. Even if they could not defeat him, he could help them escape. Unfortunately, the other party was only a mid-stage holy ruler. He could not help them at all. He could not even escape. After the two prides of the heavenly sect landed, they looked around to see if there were any traps or enemies. Southern Demon looked at the foot of the mountain in the distance, surprised. Was there another helper? Saber 9 glanced at him and chuckled. He was probably here to cultivate, there was no need to pay attention to him. Southern Demon said, no way. We can't let anyone know that we're here. Since he's here, he can only blame himself for being unlucky. How about this, I'll kill him as well later. The two of them did not hide their conversation at all. Obviously, to them, Lin Xian was just a holy ruler. He was no different from an ant. It would be a piece of cake for them to kill him. Dugu Su sighed. Forget it. I have nothing to say if the heavens want to kill me. Come at me if you want. However, this young man has nothing to do with me. He's only here to gain enlightenment. Let him go. Chapter 4781. Senior Dugu, how impressive. However, do you still think you're the clan leader of the Dugu clan? You're already severely injured. What right do you have to order us around? Saber 9 snorted. Southern Demon chimed in. Don't even think about letting anyone escape. You'll definitely die. This brat is unlucky, he'll go to hell. As for your granddaughter, she's so beautiful. We won't kill her easily. The two of them laughed triumphantly. Dugu Xiaoyi's face was pale, her eyes filled with despair. Dugu Che roared angrily as well. Since you don't agree, don't blame me for fighting to the death. He roared, his aura erupting. However, he spat out a mouthful of black blood the next second. His body swayed, and he fell to the ground. Ha ha ha. Saber 9 and Southern Demon laughed. You want to fight to the death with us in your current state? Do you even have the right to do so? The two of them walked forward as they spoke. Dugu Xiaoyi was in despair. She gripped the sword in her hand. She would not let these people succeed even if she had to die. Dugu Che sighed. Xiaoyi, I'm the one who got you into this. You shouldn't have come with me this time. At the same time, Dugu Su looked into the distance and sighed. Young man, I'm the one who got you into this. I hope you don't blame me. He gritted his teeth as soon as he finished speaking. Even if he had to die this time, he would drag her along with him. Southern Demon and Saber 9 walked forward. One of them extended a large hand, grabbing Dugu Xiaoyi while the other charged at Dugu Su. At the same time, Saber 9 waved his hand, and his sword cheat charged at Lin Xian in the distance. Lin Xian opened his eyes abruptly. A cold, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. To be honest, Lin Xian did not care about the previous battle at all. As he did not know either party, he did not care. However, Dugu Su was truly kind. He wanted to protect Lin Xian even before he died. Lin Xian was very touched. Moreover, these two heavenly sect geniuses were too arrogant. They wanted to kill Lin Xian while he was comprehending their techniques. If that was the case, Lin Xian could not ignore it. With a wave of his hand, he tore the incoming sword chi apart. The next second, he said coldly, both of you, get out of here now, or you'll die. The Southern Demon saw that the two were stunned. And Lin Xian. Someone had the audacity to interfere. Who was it? So reckless. Up ahead. Dugu Xiaoyi also opened her eyes. Did an expert come to save them? Dugu Su also had a sliver of hope. However, when they saw that the person who spoke was Lin Xian, they despaired. Dugu Xiaoyi also said. This fellow should have used this opportunity to escape. Why did he still dare to come? Saber 9 smirked. I thought some expert had arrived, but it's just a mid-level holy ruler brat. Do you know who we are? How dare you meddle in our affairs? We are from the Sky Sect and are on the Sky Sect's Xian ranking. The Southern Demon harumphed coldly as well. Initially, he had wanted to deal with these two before giving Lin Fan a quick death. But since that was the case, he would let Lin Fan have a taste of a fate worse than death. He struck out with his palm. They were just ants in the middle stage of the Saint King realm. They could just kill them. The two of them were peak existences. A black palm with terrifying flames and monstrous demonic chi slammed over. Not good. Dugu Xiaoyu despaired. Even a peak stage Saint King would not be able to block this attack, let alone a mid-stage Saint King. Boom! With a single palm strike, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Black demonic chi erupted and enveloped the entire area. It was over. The southern demon turned around, intending to continue attacking Dugusu. However, he was stunned the next moment. A voice came from behind again. Is this all that the Sky Sect's Xian ranking has? What trash! What? You're not dead. The blue demon was stunned and turned around abruptly. Beside him, Saber 9 was stunned as well. How is that possible? He was well aware of the blue demon's abilities. With this attack, Lin Fan would definitely die. How is he still alive? Even Dugus Xiaoyi and Saber 9 were stunned. Could this young man be an expert? Brat, who exactly are you? Saber 9 asked coldly. He felt that this brat before him was very strange. Lin Xian said coldly. I did not intend to meddle in your affairs, but you even want to kill me. In that case, go to hell. Are you threatening us? You must be tired of living. Saber 9's expression darkened. There's no need for you to live. In a flash, he charged over. He struck with his sword. No one among the Saint Kings could match this strike. A golden glow erupted from Lin Xian's eyes. A pair of heavenly god's eyes appeared. He looked down on all life. Everyone felt a tremendous soul suppression. At this moment, it was as if their souls were about to split apart. How terrifying! Dugus Xiaoyi felt as if her soul was about to be destroyed. A terrifying glow erupted from Dugus's eyes. How is this soul energy possible? Similarly, Saber 9's pupils dilated. This soul energy was too powerful. He could not resist it. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. The golden eyes in the sky released a reincarnation aura, directly piercing his soul. With a loud crash, the long sword fell to the ground. Saber 9's body fell as well. His aura was gone. What's going on? The blue demon was stunned. His expression turned to despair. Is Saber 9 dead? What kind of power is this? Could this soul be the great sage? Impossible. Isn't he a mid-stage Saint King? How can he possess the great sage's soul? Could it be that he's an old monster? Has his power been suppressed? At this thought, the blue demon was horrified. He turned around and fled. Trying to escape. Lin Xian smirked. The light of reincarnation shot out from his eyes, directly piercing his opponent's soul. Lin Xian's ocular skill was extremely powerful. Moreover, he was not holding back at all. Therefore, there was no way his opponent could resist this attack. The blue demon's soul was instantly destroyed. There was despair in his eyes. He should not have ignored this person. However, he had no right to regret. His body fell to the ground. His soul was destroyed. Is he dead? Dugus Xiaoyi was stunned. These two top geniuses in front of her, powerhouses on the profound ranking, had died just like that. She felt as if she was dreaming. One should know that these two people from before had made her and her grandfather feel despair. They had even thought of perishing together. However, they could not block the other party's gaze. What's going on? She looked at her grandfather. Dugus took a deep breath as well. He staggered forward. Thank you for your help, fellow cultivator. How should I address you? Dugus Xiaoyi was stunned. Her grandfather was the great sage. Moreover, he was the clan leader of the Duga clan. His status was extremely noble. Even when facing top geniuses, he was still an elder. However, at that moment, her grandfather was actually addressing this young man as someone of the same generation. In fact, he was even speaking with incomparable respect. She found it unbelievable. However, when she thought of Lin Xian's terrifying gaze, she understood. The person in front of her could not be judged by his age or cultivation base. He was an extremely terrifying powerhouse. Chapter 4782. Dugusu was also shocked. He couldn't see through the young man in front of him. He was a middle sage king, but he had the soul of a great sage. His attacks were swift and decisive, killing in one hit. Such a person was really rare. Perhaps only those few people in the legends could do it. Lin Xian looked at him and smiled. Senior, you're too polite. Senior's kindness and righteousness were admirable. How should I address you? I'm Lin Xian, a disciple of the True Path sect. Lin Xian. Dugusu started to recall, comparing him to those legendary experts. He realized that he had never heard of the name Lin Xian before. But since he was from the True Path sect, could he be a hidden genius of the True Path sect? No matter what, he had to befriend this person. So young master is an expert of the True Path sect. I'll remember your kindness in saving my life. Senior, you're too polite. Lin Xian smiled. Suddenly, he reached out to grab Dugusu. Dugu was shocked. What's going on? Is he going to attack me? Dugusu's pupils constricted. But in the next moment, he was stunned. He realized that Lin Xian had sent out a ray of sword qi into his body, destroying the poison. Then, he retracted it. Lin Quan retracted his hand. The poison in the senior's body was extremely terrifying. It should be an extremely terrifying poison. I've destroyed some of it, but senior needs to go back and recuperate. So he's helping her grandfather suppress his injuries. Dugu Xiaoyi heaved a sigh of relief. But her grandfather was helpless against this poison. Can he do it? Dugusu's body trembled. His face was filled with shock. He felt that the threat of the poison had been greatly reduced. That meant that in that instant, more than half of his poison had been destroyed. That was too terrifying. This young man's methods were simply heaven-defying. Thank you, young master. Dugusu looked at Dugu Xiaoyi and said, come over and thank me. Dugu Xiaoyi walked over and said, thank you, young master Lin, for saving me. It's nothing. I still have some things to do, so I'll leave first. Lin Xian nodded and turned to leave. Looking at his back as he left, Dugu Xiaoyi asked, Grandpa, is he really that powerful? Have you recovered by more than half? Dugu said. That's right, he's too terrifying, and too mystical. We must befriend this person. How great would it be if he were a genius of our Dugu clan? Dugu Xiaoyi was shocked. Although they were in danger today, the Dugu clan was still a top-notch clan. How many experts and geniuses were there in the sect? Could it be that none of them were a match for him? Seeing Dugu Xiaoyi's confusion, Dugusu sighed. You still don't understand his strength. He had completely surpassed Southern Demon and Saber 9 from before. My guess is that he has already reached the level of the Great Sage. More importantly, I've checked before, and he's indeed a mid-stage Saint King. Do you think that an ordinary genius can achieve such heaven-defying battle prowess? He had already surpassed the scope of a genius. This time, Dugu Xiaoyu was truly stunned. Previously, she thought that Lin Xian was suppressing his cultivation, but now it seemed that he wasn't in the middle stage of the Saint King realm. Instead, he had the combat prowess of the Great Sage. How many realms had he crossed? Perhaps even her disciple was only at this level. Dugusu took a deep breath. He said that he would send a message to the clan and get the clan's elders to come and settle the matter here. Duga Xiaoyi nodded and began to form a formation to send the message. This time, they had to send the clan's experts to protect them. Otherwise, they would be in danger again after avoiding this crisis. Lin Xian returned to the True Path sect. Spiritual abode. He wondered how the Crimson Mountain Dragon and the others were doing. After returning, he found out that the Crimson Dragon and Toad had already challenged the experts on the new ranking list. They had successfully slapped the Dragon Palace in the face. His lips curled into a cold smile. This was just the beginning. Next, these two would probably continue to sweep the ranking list. On the other side, in the Dragon Palace's Spirit Mountain, Lan Jiyu opened her eyes. She stood up and gritted her teeth. Lin Xian, I'll let you know how big the gap between us is. Previously, she had succeeded in challenging the person ranked first, but Lin Xian had instantly challenged the person ranked first. And he had succeeded. The gap between the two sides had widened. Countless people were talking about Lin Xian and the others, thinking that they were more powerful geniuses. How could Lan Jiyu tolerate this? She decided to personally meet this Lin Xian and then have a duel with him and defeat him directly. This way, everyone would know the gap between the two sides. At the same time, two figures appeared in the sky outside the Holy Abyss City. They stood on the spirit boat and looked at the Holy Gulf City. Their lips curled into a smile. This ancient city. That guy must be inside. The two figures on the boat were a man and a woman. The woman was beautiful and had a noble temperament. It was as if nothing in the world could compare to her. Especially his eyes, there were green flames dancing in them that could burn the 9 heavens. Murong Qingqing's man, Lin Xian, I'd like to see what's so special about you. The mysterious woman snorted with disdain in her eyes. That's just an exaggeration. The man beside her was tall and strong. His eyes danced wildly with a domineering aura, as if he didn't care about anything. He said, "How can you believe Murong Qingqing's words? Besides, she's different from us. We were born in the top clans, but she came from a small place. She was only lucky enough to obtain a heaven-defying bloodline. How high could her standards be back then? The geniuses in her eyes are probably no different from ants in our eyes." The Qingqing they were talking about was naturally Murong Qingqing. The two people's identities were also extremely unusual. The mysterious woman was called Qing Feng, a genius of the Phoenix clan. The burly and arrogant man beside her was an expert of the Tianping clan called by Li Fei. Although the Tianping clan wasn't an emperor clan, they were still very terrifying. Rumor had it that there was a Tianping Bolong. It could be said that the Tianping clan was a very powerful divine beast clan. The Tianping clan had a top genius of this generation. He met Murong Qingqing again by chance and fell in love with her. However, Murong Qingqing's heart belonged to someone else and she didn't care about him at all. Later, he found out that Murong Qingqing's lover was someone called Lin Xian. He was very angry about it. Therefore, he sent people from his clan to investigate what Lin Xian was like. If he was weak, he would kill him directly. Murong Qingqing had the Phoenix bloodline, so she must have a close relationship with the Phoenix clan. Therefore, this time, the Phoenix clan also sent a proud daughter of the heavens to explore together with them. Their target this time was Lin Xian. Chapter 4783. The two of them entered Holy Abyss City. With their strength and identity, they easily found out where Lin Xian was. He had joined the Dao sect. It seemed that he was quite strong. Qing Fang's eyes flashed. Bai Li Fei sneered. The difference in strength between the disciples of the Dao sect was huge. The strongest one was the emperor. The weakest one couldn't even block one of his attacks. He was probably at the bottom. The two of them headed to the Dao sect. They went to look for Lin Xian. In the end, they found out that Lin Xian didn't leave the Dao sect. Did he go on a mission? Qing Feng frowned and asked. However, he didn't get the same answer. No one knew where he went. Qing Feng found someone to ask about his performance after entering the Dao sect. The result was disappointing. After this guy came, his whereabouts were very mysterious. No one knew where he was cultivating. Moreover, he didn't fight for any rankings. Until now, he wasn't even on the stars ranking. I told you, he's nothing to be afraid of. Bai Li Fei snorted. Qing Feng sighed. It seemed that Qing had bad taste. The genius in her eyes was just a so-so. Forget it, let's not bother about him. Let's go play in the ancient city. This was the primeval city. There were many relics of the sages here. The two of them left the Dao sect. Lin Xian wasn't in the Dao sect. He went back for a few days and then left again. Lin Xian went to other relics of the sages to browse and comprehend. Today, he returned. He found many people outside the Dao sect. What happened? He looked over. There was a woman standing in front of him. She had a huge sword on her back and was extremely beautiful. The appearance of this woman attracted the attention of many Dao sect disciples. Someone exclaimed. What a beautiful woman. Her stunning appearance wasn't any weaker than Fairy Lan Ziyu. She even had her own characteristics. Could it be that she was here to look for him? Lin Xian was shocked. Thinking of this, he walked forward. At this moment, a figure stopped him. You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for many days. I thought you wouldn't dare to come back. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned and looked to the front. There was a woman in blue standing in front of him. Although she was extremely beautiful, she was still a beauty. But he wasn't happy at all. This person was Lan Ziyu. What do you want? Lin Xian asked coldly. The surrounding Dao sect disciples cried out in surprise. What a beautiful woman. Look, it's Fairy Ziyu. Countless people looked over once again. Who was the person standing beside Fairy Ziyu? How unfamiliar. Although Lin Xian came in first place, he kept a very low profile after coming in, so most people didn't recognize him. Are you free now? Lan Ziyu asked coldly. Lin Xian asked, Are you inviting me? The surrounding people were stunned when they heard this. It can't be. Who is this person? How could Fairy Ziyu personally invite him? Their eyes were red. Lan Ziyu said, You can think of it that way too. I feel like it's time for a duel between us. I'll let you prove my strength. Challenge me. Lin Xian smiled. You're not qualified. I'm not free. I'm very busy. Not just anyone can challenge me. With that, Lin Xian walked to the side. The surrounding people were stunned. Oh my god, is this person rejecting her? Someone actually rejected Fairy Ziyu. How big of a heart does he have? Hearing this, Lan Ziyu's face turned ugly. Since when did anyone dare to reject me? If you're a coward and don't dare to compete with me, then just say it. I can let you go. Lin Xian smiled coldly. He really wasn't interested. Because his target was the people on the Holy Gulf list. He really didn't care about the stars list. Young Master Lin, you're here. At this moment, the woman with the giant sword on her back turned around and revealed a beautiful smile. The people around them were all staring at the scene. What's going on today? Two beautiful women have arrived. Moreover, did these two peerless beauties come for the same man? They realized that the beautiful woman with the long sword was also walking towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "So it's Miss Dugu. I wonder why you're here." Dugu Xiao Yi. Revealing a beautiful smile, she tilted her head and said, "I'm here to look for you, young Master Lin. You helped us so much before and we haven't thanked you properly. Today, we'll treat you to a meal." "Come, thank you." "Okay, I happen to have time." Lin Xian smiled and nodded. Lan Zhiyu said, "Didn't you say you don't have time?" She gritted her teeth so hard that they almost broke. Lin Xian glanced at her and said lightly, "I just don't have time to fight with you." With that, he didn't look at her again. Lan Zhiyu's face was terrifyingly dark. Damn it, am I being ignored? Or is it that I'm not as beautiful as her? She stared at Dugu Xiao Yi. Dugu Xiao Yi also turned her head and stared at her. The two beautiful women had a biting cold aura in their eyes. Dugu Xiao Yi said, "Young Master Lin, is this person disrespectful to you? Do you need us to make a move?" "No need. She's just a self-righteous woman." Lin Xian shook his head. "Let's go." Dugu Xiao Yi waved her hand and a golden chariot flew over. Pulling the chariot were two beasts, snow-white lions. They were mighty and extraordinary. Lin Xian and Dugu Xiao Yi rose into the air and left in the golden chariot, leaving behind a group of envious gazes. "Quickly go and find out who this person is. He should be from our Dao sect." Damn it, when did such a famous genius appear in our Dao sect? In their opinion, Lan Zhiyu must have been jealous of a beautiful woman. In the end, Lan Zhiyu lost. This was an earth-shattering event. Countless people quickly investigated and the news spread throughout the entire Dao sect. Lan Zhiyu's face turned green. Damn it, it's not like this at all. She only wanted to challenge the other party. Moreover, she was really ignored. White Crane Tower. The entire 7th floor was booked. There were several figures sitting inside. One of them was a middle-aged man with a cold expression. He frowned and said, "He's still not here. That kid is not taking us seriously." This time, they weren't waiting for some important elder or patriarch of a clan of the ancients. They were waiting for a young man. Moreover, he made them wait for so long. This middle-aged man was naturally unhappy. What kind of status did the Dugu clan have? They would never wait for someone for so long. If it wasn't for the old man, he would have left long ago. This middle-aged man was not ordinary. He was an elder of the Dugu clan and the old man's son. His name was Dugu Hai. It turned out that after Lin Xian left that day, Dugu Xiao Yi had hurriedly sent a distress signal to the clan. Soon, the Dugu clan sent experts to protect the old man. Chapter 4784. Dugu Hai was ranked first among the old man's sons. He was also Dugu Xiao Yi's uncle. He was considered young, but his strength and talent were very strong. He was already at the peak of the Saint King realm. He was only one step away from the great sage. He would become a great sage within 300 years. This was something that the Dugu clan was very proud of. Therefore, he was usually very arrogant. Other than his elders, he didn't care about others. Now that he had to wait for a young junior, he was naturally unhappy. Old man Dugu's face darkened when he heard this. He looked at Dugu Hai and said, "Old man, remember this. Although he is young, he has the combat strength of the great sage. He is a top genius who is close to the emperor's son. So treat him with the same respect as you treat me. Do you hear me? If you dare to offend him and cause the Dugu clan to have no chance to make friends with such a genius, don't blame me for being rude to you." Hai said helplessly, "Father, I know." Although he said so, he still didn't believe that a middle-stage Saint King had the combat strength of the great sage. What kind of joke was this? He had to see it for himself later. Outside the White Crane Tower, the golden chariot stopped. Dugu Xiaoyi walked out and looked at Lin Xian. "Young Master Lin, please." Lin Xian nodded. He didn't expect to come to the White Crane Tower again. The first time he came, he had a conflict with Bai Zhen. Now he was invited by the Dugu clan. He went up to the 7th floor of the White Crane Tower and found that it had been booked. There were only a few people inside. Old man Dugu was sitting there. When he saw Lin Xian, he immediately stood up and walked over. "Young Master Lin, I am so happy that you can attend my banquet." Dugu Hai also stood up and looked at Lin Xian. He found that Lin Xian was indeed a middle-stage Saint King. Did such a person really have the combat strength of the great sage? He didn't feel any dangerous aura from Lin Xian, so he looked down on him even more. He felt that the other party was just exaggerating. Lin Xian looked at Dugu Su and smiled. "Senior Dugu is too polite. You are an old senior, how can I dare to accept that? By the way, are your injuries better?" Old man Dugu said as he pulled Lin Xian to sit down. "It's much better now. It's all thanks to young Master Lin that you acted in time. Otherwise, the poison in my body wouldn't have been removed so quickly." At this moment, Dugu Hai walked over and said, "Mr. Lin, my name is Dugu Hai. Thank you for saving my father." Lin Xian looked at him and nodded slightly. Then, he looked at old man Dugu again. Dugu Hai was taken aback. Wasn't the other party a little too arrogant even after finishing his attack? His expression was somewhat gloomy. In fact, from Lin Xian's point of view, the other party wasn't even a great sage, so he really wasn't worth paying attention to. During the banquet, old man Dugu and Lin Xian chatted as they drank. The atmosphere was very harmonious. Old man Dugu said, "I really don't know how to repay young master. Here are some cultivation resources. Please accept them." After saying that, Dugu Xiaoyi stood up and took out a storage ring. There were 1,000 drops of dragon marrow, 10 million caddies of divine crystals, and 2 Sage King grade weapons. It could be said to be very generous. Even a peak Sage King would be envious, let alone a mid-stage Sage King. However, Lin Xian's expression was calm. He said, "Old man Dugu's words are too serious. I didn't save you for these things, so I can't accept them." Dugu Xiaoyi was stunned, but Dugu Hai sneered in his heart. In his opinion, Lin Xian was just pretending and would accept them in the end. However, he was wrong. Lin Xian really didn't intend to accept them. He had saved Dugu Hai for 2 reasons. He felt that being on good terms with Dugu Hai would be of great help to the divine union. In the future, they could make the Dugu family their ally. Therefore, he really didn't care about these resources. Could it be that young Master Lin thinks it's too little? I can let them prepare it. Old man Dugu said. Lin Xian shook his head. It's really not, senior. If you really think highly of me, then be friends with me. Who knows, I might need senior's help in the future. Then, this old man will teach this little friend of yours. If you need his help in the future, just let me know. The Dugu family will definitely not decline. Thank you very much, senior. The banquet continued. Not long after, a figure hurried to the 7th floor. Reporting to the family. What's going on? Old man Dugu frowned. Didn't they say that no one was allowed to disturb them? Xiaoyi, go and take a look. Dugu Xiaoyi stood up and walked outside. However, not long after, she came back with a pale face. What's wrong? Old man Dugu frowned. Dugu Xiao Yi said. It was Dugu Lei. He seemed to have gotten into trouble outside. Little Lei had always been like that. Dugu Hai didn't mind. He said that they could just send their subordinates to settle it. Their Dugu family was considered a big family. What couldn't they settle? However, old man Dugu frowned. Old man, if it was so simple, would we still need the subordinates to tell us? The other party definitely has a big background. Xiao Yi, tell us the details. Dugu Xiao Yi nodded. Grandfather was right. The person that little Lei offended wasn't simple. It was someone from the Tianping family. Tianping family. Old man Dugu was stunned. Even Dugu Hai sucked in a breath of cold air. Although the Tianping family wasn't an emperor family, they were still a god-beast family. They were very strong and much more terrifying than them. Dugu Hai's face changed. Although he was arrogant before, that was only towards normal people and sections. Against the Tianping family, he had no chance of winning. Their Dugu family couldn't compare to them at all. It seemed like they had to lower their heads this time. Dugu Hai said. Since it was like this, then let little Lei apologize to them. If it really didn't work, then they would fork out some resources and settle it peacefully. The subordinates reported that little Lei had already settled it like this, but the other party didn't agree at all. They seemed to want little Lei to kowtow and apologize. What? Dugu Hai stood up. What kind of joke was this? Kowtow and apologize. This wasn't just Dugu Lei's matter. It was their Dugu family's matter. Although the other party's family was strong, they couldn't be so arrogant. Who was the other party to the Tianping family? If it was just an ordinary disciple, they would really dare to fight. The other party was Tianping families by Li Fei. What? Hearing this, Dugu Hai was stunned. Even old man Dugu stood up abruptly and said with gritted teeth. This Dugu Lei really didn't have eyes. It was fine if he was arrogant normally, but he actually offended the Tianping family. Was he really tired of living? He had heard of the name by Li Fei. Although the Tianping family wasn't in Holy Abyss Ancient City, they were still very famous. All the families had to pay attention to them. Bai Li Fei was a top genius in the Tianping family. Offending such a person. That was courting death. Chapter 4785. Yes, Grandpa, what should we do? Dugu Xiao Yi was also anxious. Old man Dugu said, there's no other way. Looks like I have to apologize to them personally. Let's go. If we're late, Dugu Lei might be killed. Old man Dugu stood up and said, prepare the carriage. At the same time, he looked at Lin Xian and said, young Master Lin, I'm sorry. I wanted to continue chatting with you. But it seems that I can't. Our Dugu clan has a useless grandson. Something happened. I have to go and deal with it. Lin Xian said, I'll go too. Maybe I can help. He wanted the Dugu clan to be his ally. Then, he had to show enough value. Previously, he saved old man Dugu, but he felt that it wasn't enough. He wanted to go and take a look. Maybe he could convince these people again. Really? That's great. Thank you, young Master Lin. Old man Dugu's eyes lit up. With a young expert like Lin Xian, there might be a chance for things to turn around. The group quickly set off. Dugu Xiao Yu was also happy. However, Dugu Hai was disdainful. Even their Dugu clan couldn't deal with it. What could a young man do? In his opinion, Lin Xian was just pretending. Spirit Void Valley. It was a very famous place in Holy Abyss Ancient City. There were spirit veins everywhere. There were a few sages who came here before. At this moment, there were many people standing in the valley. Each of them had a powerful aura. Moreover, there were terrifying flames on their bodies. All kinds of flames could burn the 9 heavens. Among them, there were 2 terrifying figures. One was a woman in green, surrounded by terrifying green flames. The other was a tall and sturdy man in battle armor. There was also a faint golden flame on his body. It condensed in his palm. These 2 people were Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei, who came to Holy Abyss Ancient City. The 2 of them stood like gods and demons. Opposite them was a young man with a huge sword on his back. His eyes were filled with fear and terror. At the same time, he looked out of the valley. He had already notified his clan. Why hadn't they sent anyone? If they didn't come, he would be in trouble. Finally, just as he was about to lose all hope, he saw a low light shining in the sky. There was also the sound of roaring. Dugulay's eyes lit up. He saw a few chariots flying over with the Dugu family's emblem on them. He jumped up and clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with excitement. Great! Now that the people from his family had come, he no longer had to fear these 2 people in front of him. In the valley, the others also saw that and turned around. Even Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei frowned and looked into the distance. In the distance, the war chariot stopped, and several figures walked out. There were old men, middle-aged men, and young men. Is Grandpa here too? Dugulay's eyes were filled with excitement. Great, he could finally take revenge. Thinking of this, he snorted proudly. Old Man Dugu and the others quickly landed after they arrived. Grandpa, you're finally here. Help me teach them a lesson. Dugulay ran over and shouted loudly. In the end, what she received was a slap from the old man. Old Man Dugu sent Dugulay flying with a palm strike. Dugulay spun a few times in the air before landing on the ground with his teeth broken. He said in horror, Grandpa, why did you hit me? We're the enemies, aren't we? Useless trash, you don't even know how to cultivate. You only know how to cause trouble and make enemies for your family. Do you know who you've provoked this time? Old Man Dugu was so angry that his body trembled. It was fine if he provoked other rogue cultivators, but this time, he had provoked the Tianping clan. Was that someone the Dugu clan could provoke? Dugulay was terrified. Could it be that he had kicked an iron plate this time? Thinking of this, his face turned even paler. Old Man Dugu snorted coldly. See how I'll deal with you when we get back. Then, he looked in front of him. In front of him, 2 people stood there with cold smiles on their faces. It was as if they were watching a show. Old Man Dugu took a deep breath. These 2 people were too extraordinary. Their auras were terrifying. Especially that flame. It was extremely precious. Even the great sage might not be able to get it, but it had appeared in the hands of these 2 young men. He looked at the burly man first. He had a huge figure and a violent aura. His gaze was indomitable. He should be from the Tianping clan. Who was the lady in green next to him? She must be extraordinary to be able to stand side by side with the Tianping clan. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath. He waved his hand and Duguhai walked up with a smile. This must be the peerless genius of the Tianping clan, Prince Bai Li Fei. He had long heard of Prince Bai Li's great name. Now that he had met him, he was indeed worthy of his reputation. Duguhai smiled and went up to greet him. However, Bai Li Fei stood with his hands behind his back and looked coldly at him. He had no intention of paying attention to him. This scene made Duguhai's face stiffen. His smile became a little ugly. This guy was too arrogant. Although the other party was from the Tianping clan, his identity was not weak either. The other party had ignored him. Although Dugu was furious, he did not dare to act out. After all, they were at a disadvantage this time. The other people in the valley were not weak either. They were either from the top clans, top sects, or people from the orthodoxies. At this moment, they were shocked to see this scene. They naturally knew about the Dugu clan. However, they did not know about the two young geniuses in front of them. Now that they saw it, they were shocked. To be able to make the Dugu clan bow their heads, they must have an extraordinary background. Moreover, they heard about the Tianping clan. Could it be that the two of them were from the Tianping clan? They were extremely shocked. Dugu was ignored. Old man Dugu sighed. It seemed that he had to take action personally. He walked up and said, "Prince Bailey. This grandson of mine is useless. I don't know how he offended Prince Bailey. I want him to apologize to Prince Bailey." This time, Bailey Fei finally spoke. "So it's the Dugu clan. This grandson of yours is too daring. He actually dared to have ideas about my friend. I taught him a lesson, and he actually wanted to get the experts of his clan to kill me. How do you think we should settle this score? I can spare his life on account of old man Dugu. However, it depends on what your Dugu clan can take out." Dugu face changed when he heard this. Could it be that the other party wanted to extort them? Old man Dugu's eyes were also gloomy. Dugu stood up from behind and said, "He's talking nonsense. I didn't want to kill them. I just saw that the girl was extremely beautiful and wanted to get to know her. They were too overbearing." Chapter 4786. Old man Dugu didn't say anything, he just turned his head and glanced at Dugu. His cold gaze caused Dugu to kneel on the ground, not daring to say anything. He knew that he had caused a disaster today. Old man Dugu turned his head, and looked at Bai Lifei with a cold look in his eyes. He asked, "What does young master Bai Lifei want?" "I am a very reasonable person and I don't want much." Bai Lifei stretched out a finger and said, "Give me a world." "What? A world?" Hearing this, the surrounding people sucked in a cold breath. The Dugu family's people were even more stunned. In the myriad worlds, they were a peak clan in the buried Emperor Star, the most important world. They have many other star worlds in their hands. These stellar worlds either did not have any saints, or they possessed extremely important metal or sources, or various other precious resources. Generally, the top clans would have a few of these worlds in their hands. But now, even the Dugu family wouldn't agree to give away one. "What?" Bai Lifei said with a smile, "Could it be that you think that your grandson's life isn't worth a world? Since that's the case, there's no need for me to hold back." Old man Dugu's face turned completely cold. Beside him, Dugu was also furious. His expression was ferocious as he roared. "Bai Lifei, don't go too far. I was courteous to you before because you are from the Heavenly Rock race. But if you continue to be arrogant, don't blame me for suppressing you. With just you." Bai Lifei's face was filled with disdain. His 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed forward. It was like a world cage. The surrounding space was constantly shattering. "Damn it, you dare to look down on me!" Dugu shouted angrily. He pulled out the huge sword on his back and slashed down. The entire world seemed like it was going to split apart. Boom! Boom! Intense explosions sounded out as the huge sword was split in half. Dugu vomited blood and was sent flying. A terrifying crack appeared on his body. "A mere Saint King dares to be arrogant in front of me." Bai Lifei withdrew his palm and sneered. "How is this possible?" Countless people cried out in alarm. Old man Dugu's pupils shrank. Great Sage's battle strength. Although the person in front of them wasn't the Great Sage, he had the battle strength of the Great Sage. A top-notch genius. The Duga clan has really kicked an iron plate this time. In this golden age, their Duga clan did not have such a genius. Perhaps they would be defeated in the future. His heart was filled with despair. However, when he saw Lin Xian beside him, he took a deep breath. Bai Lifei was at the peak of the Saint King realm, and he had the battle prowess of the Great Sage. However, Lin Xian was even more shocked. Lin Xian was only a middle-stage Saint King, but he had the battle prowess of the Great Sage. Wasn't that even more terrifying? Thinking of this, he became even more determined to win over this young man. At this moment, Dugu Hai also stood up shakily. His face was extremely pale. The sword Dao Law on his body was rapidly repairing the cracks. Damn it! His expression was sinister, teeth clenched, but he didn't dare make another move. Even with his full strength, he couldn't block the palm of the other party. The gap was so big. Old man Dugu looked up at the other party and said, "Young Master Bai Lifei, although my grandson is in the wrong, aren't you being too greedy for an entire world? Why, do you think it's too much? Looks like your grandson isn't worth an entire world. Since that's the case, I'll send him to hell." He looked at Dugulei. Dugulei was trembling on the ground. He was about to faint. He cried out, "Grandpa, save me." He didn't want to die. Old man Dugu's face was cold. His hands clenched tightly in his sleeves. Was he going to make a move? Although he was the Great Sage, the other party was backed by the Tianping clan. Could he bear the wrath of the Tianping clan? I've changed my mind. At this moment, Bai Lifei's lips curled up into a smile. The people of the Duga clan heaved a sigh of relief. Great, they saw hope. However, in the next moment, they fell into the abyss again. Bai Lifei said, "It's a pity to kill him. Why don't I cripple him and let him become a cripple? I really want to see how an ant can survive in such a martial world." After saying that, his palm slashed forward like a knife. This strike would probably shatter Dugulei's meridians and foundation. He wouldn't be able to cultivate anymore and would become a cripple. No, Dugulei was in despair. If he became a cripple, he would rather die. Old man Dugu's pupils constricted. He wanted to make a move, but it was too late. The other party was too fast. Just when everyone thought that Dugulei was finished, a hand grabbed the other party's knife. A low voice rang out. It was like 100,000 claps of thunder. Bai Lifei's palm was pushed back, shattering the void. He also took 2 steps back. His eyes shone with a shocking light. Who was it? Was it the Duga clan's leader? Qing Feng was also stunned. Was the Duga clan so reckless? She looked forward as well. Soon, he was stunned. He realized that old man Dugu didn't make a move. Instead, it was a young man. He glanced at that person. He had come with the Duga clan, but he had been standing at the side without saying a word. He had thought that the other party was just a servant. However, it didn't seem to be the case. Bai Lifei also looked over. The light in his eyes was like a heavenly knife. It made Dugu Hai's hair stand on end. However, Lin Xian was completely unaffected as he stood there. Bai Lifei was shocked. It was shocking that the other party could withstand his gaze. Who are you? Why are you meddling in my business? Lin Xian looked at Bai Lifei in front of him and sighed. He said, "Let me apologize, and this matter will be over." Everyone in the valley was stunned. They looked at the figure in surprise. Who was that? He dared to challenge Bai Lifei. Could it be that he had a powerful background? It couldn't be, right? When did the Dugu clan have such an expert? Why hadn't they heard of him before? Everyone's eyes were filled with curiosity. However, Bai Li Fei's face darkened. He smiled. I didn't hear what you said. Kid, how dare you order me around? Lin Xian said. It's not an order. It's a piece of advice. Because it won't do you any good if you continue. Bai Li Fei was stunned. Was he threatening him? He was the top genius of the Heavenly Rock clan. He grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. His bloodline was super strong, and his talent was terrifying. He had always been the one who defeated everyone. No one dared to offend him. Now, there was someone even younger than him here to give him advice. Even old man Dugu didn't dare to challenge him. Who was this guy? Qin Feng was also surprised. It had been a long time since someone dared to challenge Lin Xian. He looked at Lin Xian curiously. Chapter 4787. What if I continue to attack? Bai Li Fei took a step forward and a terrifying domineering aura surged from his body. The pressure of his bloodline appeared and caused everyone in the valley to turn pale. Lin Xian sighed. I've already given you a warning. If you continue to attack, you'll be courting death. Bai Li Fei was so angry that he laughed. I haven't met such an arrogant person in a long time. Brat, I won't let you die so easily. A terrifying killing intent surged from his body and swept through the 9 heavens. The surrounding people were shocked. Dugu Hai's expression also changed. He shouted angrily. Damn it, they had already offended the Heavenly Rock clan. If they completely enraged the Heavenly Rock clan because of this brat, their 100 Lane clan would really be finished. Was this brat trying to get them killed? Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to Dugu Hai. A cold glint appeared in his eyes. His opponent was indeed an expert who could arouse his interest. He also stood out and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. Heavenly Rock Clan. I haven't experienced it yet. If you want to attack, then come. Let me see if you have the qualifications to be arrogant in front of me. What's your name? I don't kill nameless people. Bai Li Fei shouted coldly. In his opinion, his opponent should be a very famous expert. Lin Xian smiled. If you can defeat me, then you can know my name. Otherwise, you don't have the qualifications. You're arrogant, but you don't have a brain. Go to hell. Bai Li Fei was completely enraged. Qin Feng, who was beside him, also shook his head and sighed. He admitted that Lin Xian was courageous, but he didn't have a strategy. If he angered Bai Li Fei in this situation, he would end up in a miserable state. He could already predict what was going to happen next. So he shook his head. He hadn't been in Holy Abyss Ancient City for long and he had already met so many people who didn't know their place. On the other side, Bai Li Fei had already attacked. He threw out a punch. It was like a meteor shooting towards the front. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people in the valley quickly retreated. This Bai Li Fei was extremely terrifying. He wasn't someone they could fight against. If they were hit by his battle aura, they would probably be seriously injured. Facing this terrifying attack, Lin Xian wasn't afraid. He formed a hand seal and the great rock seal flew out. Boundless golden light flickered as the divine fire condensed, forming a golden rock that flew out. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out as the Sky Peng's palm was blocked. Bai Li Fei was stunned. The other's pupils shrank as well. Was that a rock? Could it be that this fellow was specifically challenging Bai Li Fei? Bai Li Fei's expression was somewhat ugly. His eyes were filled with a biting cold killing intent. He was a sky rock, yet the other party had used the great rock seal to resist. What was the meaning of this? Was this a slap to his face? Indeed, a terrifying wave of power erupted. The image of a heavenly ping appeared behind him, fusing with his fist as he directly attacked. This power was many times stronger than before. Clearly, he was angry. Lin Xian sneered. The seal of the great rock continued to be activated. The great rock seemed to have come alive. The flames on its body suddenly erupted, and directly rushed over. The two sides clashed, causing the heavens to fall and the earth to split. A wave of power rushed into the 9 heavens. Did he block it? Qing Feng was also surprised. How could this guy block the Sky Peng's attack? In other words, he also had the battle prowess of the great sage. Bai Li Fei was also shocked. Although he also had the battle prowess of the great sage, they were different. He was at the peak of the Saint King realm. His opponent was only at the middle stage of the Saint King realm. His opponent was 2 cultivation levels lower than him, but his strength was actually not weaker than his. This was too heaven-defying. Those legendary imperial princes were nothing more than this. Could it be that this fellow was also an imperial prince? Who exactly are you? Bai Li Fei roared crazily. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Since you attacked, you should also have a taste of my attack. An extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. The power of reincarnation was released, turning into 2 reincarnation divine steels and attacked. With a bang, the heavens and earth were suppressed. Everyone felt as if their souls were about to be torn apart, as if they were about to be sucked into reincarnation. Bai Li Fei's soul was injured, and he kept retreating. His face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, what was this technique? Why did he feel as if he was facing a god just now? He was injured, and he could not believe how proud he was. Ever since he was born, other than a few specific people, he had never been defeated. But now, he had been defeated by someone younger than him. Furthermore, he still didn't know who his opponent was. But his opponent's strength and soul were really too terrifying. Beside him, Qing Feng's eyes burst out a shocking light. She stared at Lin Xian. This fellow was really beyond her expectations. She did not expect that there would be such a miraculous person in Saint Origin Ancient City. At the back, the people of the Duge clan were also stunned. Duge Xiaoyi's beautiful eyes were wide open. This was a peerless genius. Compared to Lin Xian, the geniuses from the clans that she had seen before were really too weak. Lin Xian was facing the top genius of the Heavenly Rock clan, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. In fact, he had easily crushed his opponent. At the side, Duge Hai was also sweating cold sweat. Previously, his father had told him that Lin Xian was a peerless genius, but he did not believe it at all. He thought that his father was exaggerating. But now, he saw Lin Xian's strength with his own eyes, and his hair stood on end. Thinking about how he had mocked and ridiculed Lin Xian before, he felt a lingering fear. Was such a person someone he could offend? Lin Xian was only a middle Saint King, and he was already so terrifying. If he became a great sage in the future, how terrifying would that be? If there were no accidents, such a person would be comparable to a great emperor when he grew up. Old man Dugu's eyes shone with a startling light. He was now even more determined to do his best to befriend Lin Xian. He knew that his grandson was fine. He shouted coldly, "Hurry up and thank young Master Lin." Dugu was dumbfounded. Hearing his grandfather's words, he also came back to his senses. He quickly went to young Master Lin and thanked him for saving his life. To be honest, he was a little afraid of Lin Xian. Because Lin Xian was even more terrifying and powerful than Bai Li Fei. Such a person was not someone he could offend. "Young master, please follow me back to the family. I will definitely treat you well. Old man Dugu smiled. Lin Xian looked at him and said, Old man, you guys go back first. I still have some things to do here. Alright, we will go back first. Young master, be careful. If you have any difficulties, you must tell me. Our Dugu family will definitely do our best. Then, the people of the Dugu family left. Lin Xian stood there and looked around. The people in the valley were whispering. They looked at Lin Xian with respect. Although it was a short battle, it showed how powerful and terrifying Lin Xian was. Probably no one would dare to offend him again. Bai Li Fei did not attack again because he knew that the opponent was very strong, even stronger than him. If he went up again, he would only be at a disadvantage. He gritted his teeth. He must find out who the opponent was. Chapter 4788. Qing Feng's beautiful eyes flickered. Interesting. I have to send someone to find out who he is. The two of them didn't know that the person standing in front of them was Lin Xian, the person they wanted to meet this time. What kind of expression would they have if they knew? Seeing that Lin Xian didn't leave, Bai Li Fei gritted his teeth. He didn't want to stay here any longer. After all, he had been slapped in the face. So, he said, Qing Feng, let's go. However, Qing Feng didn't have any intention of leaving. She said, why don't you go back first? I'll stay here for a while. As she spoke, her lips curled into a smile as she walked forward. This young master was really strong. However, he looked unfamiliar. Which clan did he come from? The smile on Qing Feng's face made the world lose its radiance. She was beautiful, but usually, she was very arrogant. Only a few people could make her smile like this. At this moment, Lin Xian also had the qualifications to do so. Qing Feng's origin was very terrifying. She came from the Phoenix clan, which was a monarch clan. She had seen too many geniuses. For example, Bai Li Fei, who was a peak holy king, had the battle strength of the great sage. However, for a holy king like Lin Xian, who had the battle strength of the great sage, it was very rare. Even if there were, they would be imperial princes and princesses with the bloodline of great emperors. Others couldn't compare at all. However, this Lin Xian in front of her didn't seem to be an imperial prince. This made her curious. If you want to know my identity, shouldn't you tell me your background first? Lin Xian glanced at her and said indifferently. I'm Qing Feng, from the Phoenix clan. Phoenix. Lin Xian was surprised. Suddenly, he thought of Qingqing. He wondered how that girl was doing. Murong Qingqing also had the bloodline of the phoenix. Moreover, it was an extremely special seven-colored phoenix. If she met someone from the Phoenix clan, would she be in danger? Thinking of this, he sighed and turned around to leave. The smile on Qing Feng's face froze. She was stunned. What did he mean? Was he ignoring her? She didn't dare to believe it. She had never felt this way. Who was she? She was the proud daughter of heaven of the Phoenix clan. Since she was young, there were too many young geniuses who were pursuing her. Who dared to ignore her? But now, someone had done it. Damn it, could it be that this fellow is blind? For the first time, Qing Feng doubted her own appearance. Could it be that this guy is doing this on purpose to make me angry and disturb my state of mind? She frowned and looked carefully. She wanted to see how long this guy could keep up the act. However, she realized that she was wrong. Following that, Lin Xian did not bother about her at all. Instead, he began to carefully explore the Void Valley. Moreover, he kept praising it. As expected of the place where the ancient sages came from, it was indeed extraordinary. Damn it, was he really being ignored? Qing Feng gritted his teeth and wanted to argue with him. She wanted to ask him why he was ignoring her. However, at this moment, a rainbow flew over from the distance. There was a figure standing on it, causing countless people to look over. The aura it carried was too mysterious and terrifying, to the point that everyone felt their bloodlines being suppressed. So scary, a top-notch expert has come. Everyone took a deep breath. Qing Fang's eyes lit up. She also felt the suppression from her bloodline. Who was it? She found it hard to believe such a person. When she saw the snow-white figure on the rainbow, Qing Feng was stunned. It was her. It was actually him. Had he also come here? The eyes of the young geniuses in the valley lit up. She was a beautiful fairy. Her temperament was otherworldly. It was as if she came from the immortal world. Someone walked up and revealed a handsome smile. Where did this fairy come from? How should I address her? Another person waved his fan and smiled. Fairy, are you here to comprehend the Spirit Ruins Valley? I'm familiar with this place. Why don't I introduce you? Figures surrounded her. On the rainbow, the snow-white figure said calmly, My name is Yen Ryu. I'm from the Demon Emperor Mountain. Demon Emperor Mountain. Countless people were shocked. Even Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei from the Heavenly Rock clan gasped. This place was not ordinary. Especially the name Yen Ryu, it shocked them even more. The other party's background was too extraordinary. However, no one knew her exact identity. It seemed to be a mystery. Lin Xian was also stunned. It was her. He had not gone to the Demon Emperor Mountain to find her. He did not expect her to come herself. There was always a layer of mist around her that he could not see through. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's lips curled up. Sword Qi surrounded his body, forming a ray of light that covered his respectful face. He had to test her strength later. If she recognized him, it would be difficult for him to make a move. In front, Yen Ryu stood on the rainbow and said in a deep voice, I cultivate flames and have reached the peak of my body. I heard that the Spirit Ruins Valley has an innate spirit fire. I was fated to obtain it. I wonder who can help me. I'm willing to be your helper. If I'm willing, I won't refuse. Many people spoke up. Yen Ryu shook her head. One person was enough. Whose flame was the strongest? Once she said that, everyone stopped talking. Whoever dared to claim to be the strongest would be attacked by the crowd. However, at this moment, a cold shout was heard. I'm the strongest. Then, a figure flew over like a heavenly rock. Bai Li Fei. Many people felt their scalps go numb. Although they had lost the chance to get close to Yen Ryu, who dared to go against Bai Li Fei? The people of the Heavenly Rock race. Yen Ryu was slightly surprised. Then, she nodded. It seems that they are afraid of you. That's fine too. Just give me a hand. Then, he waved his hand and a green flame appeared in his hand. It turned into a green lotus and bloomed continuously. A terrifying heat surged out. Everyone felt that their bodies were about to melt and they all retreated. The Heavenly Rock's pupils shrank. In the next moment, he roared and formed his own pale golden flame to resist. It formed a flaming armor that blocked the power of the green lotus flames. Lin Xian's divine flame was still circling around. It seemed to be fearless. He did not make a move immediately. Instead, his eyes flickered. The Spirit Ruins Valley did have an innate spirit fire. However, it was extremely mysterious and difficult to see. Let's begin. Yen Ryu waved her hand and the green lotus flame flew over and floated in the entire valley. Bai Li Fei used his own flame to form a golden heavenly rock that soared between heaven and earth. The two flames kept sweeping around, trying to find the innate spirit fire. Gradually, a blurry image appeared between heaven and earth. It seemed to be the shape of a cauldron, but it was too blurry and could not be seen clearly. Everyone held their breath. Was the spirit ruins cauldron and the innate spirit fire about to appear? Many people were shocked. Yen Ryu's eyes also burst out with a shocking light. She looked at the blurry image and said in a low voice, "It's not enough. Continue." As he spoke, more green flames flew over. Chapter 4789. Green lotuses bloomed all over the valley. Everyone retreated to the edge of the valley because the pressure was too strong. Bai Li Fei's face was pale. Should he continue? To be honest, he couldn't keep up. His opponent's strength was beyond his imagination. However, he didn't want to lose face in front of Yen Ryu, so he clenched his teeth and continued. However, the power of the innate spiritual fire and the illusory cauldron was too terrifying. Bai Li Fei couldn't hold on any longer. In the end, he stepped back and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. Yen Ryu retracted her hand and the lotus flames disappeared. She frowned and looked at Bai Li Fei. If you're not strong enough, don't force it out. Don't embarrass yourself. You. Bai Li Fei was so angry that his face turned black and he spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. Damn it, was he being looked down on? Yen Ryu ignored him and looked around. Was there anyone else who was stronger than him? Is there anyone stronger than Bai Li Fei? The crowd was puzzled. Then, they looked at another person. Earlier, this guy had suppressed Bai Li Fei. Some said that it was just strength. Now that they were competing with flames, could this guy do it? Yen Ryu also looked over, and her gaze landed on a figure. Lin Xian walked out and said, "Let me try." At that moment, sword light surrounded his body and his face couldn't be seen. Yen Ryu was confused. She felt that his aura was familiar but she didn't think too much about it. Alright, let's try again. I hope you're stronger than Tianpeng. Bai Li Fei clenched his teeth and looked at Lin Xian. He wanted to see how Lin Xian would deal with this. He admitted that Lin Xian had once suppressed him in terms of strength, but so what? To make the innate spiritual fire come out, strength wasn't enough. It required a terrifying flame. Did this guy have it? But soon, he was stunned because he realized that Lin Xian really did have it. Lin Xian waved his hand and the 9 suns divine fire flew out. It was like a sun that shone in the sky. The terrifying flame aura caused everyone's face to change. Bai Li Fei's pupils shrank. Damn it, how could Lin Xian's flame be so powerful? Although they were both golden flames, he felt that the other party's golden flames were not any weaker than his sky flames. Who exactly was this person? Qing Feng was also surprised. What a terrifying flame. She was getting more and more interested in Lin Xian. Even Yen Ryu was stunned. This flame was like the sun, which made her feel even more familiar. Could it be him? Her lips curled into a smile as she formed a seal with her palms. The green lotus flame flew out and bloomed between heaven and earth. On the other side, the 9 suns divine flame had turned into 9 suns that were revolving between heaven and earth. The two worked together, causing the illusory cauldron that had appeared before to reappear. Innate fire danced inside. Furthermore, the appearance of the cauldron was becoming clearer and clearer. It was coming out soon. Innate spirit fire. Countless people exclaimed. Bai Li Fei was shocked. He gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. How was that possible? The other party had really used it. Damn it, he was no match for his opponent in terms of flames, which made him feel a huge sense of defeat. He had lost to his opponent twice. Lin Xian was also surprised. What a terrifying flame aura. At that moment, he heard a voice beside him. I knew it. Such terrifying flames and sword chi. It was indeed you. I didn't expect you to have already come to Holy Abyss Ancient City. I told you before that I was at Demon Emperor Mountain. Why didn't you come to find me? Lin Xian smiled bitterly. It seemed that the other party had recognized him. He had said that he wanted to wait for things here to settle down before going to find him. Who would have thought that he would come early? Right, what was the use of this innate spirit fire? What a terrifying aura. And what was that illusory cauldron? That illusory cauldron should be the broken spirit void cauldron. This innate spirit fire was related to the spirit void cauldron. If you could absorb it, it would be extremely beneficial for your flame. But don't be anxious. Let's wait until the innate spirit fire is completely out. All right. Lin Xian nodded. Since the other party had recognized him, he would not hide it anymore. He activated the Nine Suns' divine flame with all his might. In front of him, the innate spirit fire was becoming clearer and clearer. Suddenly, it exploded, forming a terrifying flame that was vast and mighty between heaven and earth. It really appeared. Everyone's eyes turned red. This was the legendary innate spirit fire. Now, it had appeared in front of them. Quick, swallow the innate spirit fire and it would greatly increase the flame. It could even help them break through. Some people instantly rushed over. Everyone here was a flame expert. Some threw out terrifying pagodas, some took out terrifying cauldrons, wanting to absorb it. However, as soon as they got close to the innate spirit fire, they started burning. No! One by one, they screamed. 3 experts were instantly turned into ashes. The others were also severely burned. Their faces were filled with fear. Stupid things. Do you think you can get the innate spirit fire? Bai Li Fei looked at the scene and sneered. Let me do it. He attacked forcefully. An illusion of a canopy appeared behind him. It covered the sky and the earth and attacked. On the other side, Qing Feng also snorted. Green flames appeared in his eyes. He turned into a phoenix and danced between heaven and earth. At this moment, the two of them attacked with all their might. The innate spirit fire was also very useful to them. It was terrifying. The others retreated. Bai Li Fei and the others did not dare to provoke him. Moreover, they found out that Qing Feng was actually from the Phoenix clan. This was even more terrifying. The two of them were at the level of the Great Sage. The two of them worked together and swept through the area, forcing the others to retreat from the valley. Then, the two of them attacked the innate spirit fire. They were courting death. Lin Xian snorted coldly and punched out. The 9 suns between heaven and earth were about to fall, transforming into 9 golden crows that charged towards the heavenly peng. On the other side, Yan Ryu's expression was also cold. She waved her hand and countless young lotuses gathered in her hand. She slashed forward. Boom boom. The phoenix illusion was immediately sent flying and became dim. Qing Feng's body swayed and his face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and said, Yan Ryu, take my strongest attack. If you can block it, I will leave immediately. Phoenix Dance 9 Heavens. Qing Feng activated the Phoenix bloodline to the extreme and attacked with her strongest attack. The sound of the Phoenix echoed through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At this moment, the endless void shattered. Everyone felt that their bodies were about to split apart. This flame was really terrifying. Green Lotus Sword Song. Yan Ryu was facing such a terrifying attack. He formed a seal with his hands and the surrounding fire lotuses turned into huge green flame swords that swept in all directions. In an instant, an earth-shattering amount of sword chi slashed forward. Boom boom. Both of them were consummate skills. After the attack, the sky full of green lotuses bloomed and became even brighter. On the other hand, the phoenix dance of the 9 heavens was completely shattered. You are indeed as strong as the legends say. I admit defeat. Qing Feng quickly retreated and left the valley. It couldn't be helped. Although her status and talent were strong, Yan Ryu was a legendary figure. Her identity and origin were extremely mysterious. Chapter 4790. Qing Feng gave up, but Bai Lifei didn't. He shouted and unleashed the terrifying heavenly rock 9 slashes towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. A defeated opponent still dared to fight. He formed a rock shadow and swept in all directions. The golden rock carried the power of divine fire and bloomed between heaven and earth, colliding with the sky. The two forces were really too terrifying. In an instant, the heavenly rock trembled as if it was about to split open. So strong. The other party was really too terrifying. Even the heavenly rock 9 slashes couldn't do anything to him. 9 slashes and 1 slash, heavenly rock slays the dragon. The heavenly rock phantom behind him became even more realistic, as if it had crossed through time and space. The terrifying claws wanted to tear everything apart. The flames that filled the sky were torn apart, and the rock was also torn apart. It quickly charged towards Lin Xian. The people outside the valley were stunned when they saw this scene. As expected of the heavenly rock bloodline, it was really too strong. Legend had it that the heavenly rock ate dragons. Everyone felt that Lin Xian might not be able to block it. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Heavenly rock slays the dragon. Today, you can slaughter one. Look! His bloodline was also activated. Terrifying phantoms appeared behind him one after another. There was a Tyrannosaurus Rex baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, a sword dragon that swept through the 9 heavens, and an incomparably terrifying sea dragon. Each of them looked down on the world. That terrifying aura made everyone's soul almost split open. What a terrifying aura of the dragon Dao! Was he a dragon? The surrounding people all went crazy. The Tyrannosaurus Rex roared towards the sky and waved its claws, blocking the sharp claws of the heavenly rock. Large cracks appeared between heaven and earth. The sword dragon rushed out. The scales on its back turned into divine swords that pierced the clouds. The heavenly rock phantom was forced back. There were even many places that were pierced. The sea dragon swept out, swallowing it with the power of 10,000 seas. The 10,000 dragons fought the heavenly rock and finally tore it apart. Bai Lifei retreated, his body torn apart. He retreated with a face full of shock. He didn't dare to attack again. It was true that the heavenly rock slays dragons, but it was only an ordinary dragon. If the dragons were strong enough, they could also kill the sky rocks. There was nothing absolute in this world. Everything depended on one's strength. Right now, he couldn't defeat these dragon shadows in front of him. Alright, now that the flies have been cleared, the two of us can collect the innate spirit fire. Lin Xian walked forward. On the other side, Yan Ryu was also blooming lotuses with each step. The two of them came to the front and felt the tremendous power coming from the innate spiritual fire. They were about to take action. However, at this moment, the void split open. Terrifying black flames swept out. One blade was aimed at Lin Xian, while the other blade was aimed at Yan Ryu. Clang! Lin Xian flipped his hand and unleashed the great rock spreading wings, slamming into the black flames and emitting a deafening sound. The entire valley began to shake violently. On the other side, Yenryu used the Green Lotus Sword Song and pierced through the black flames. Her eyes shone with a sharp light. Was there anyone else? Lin Xian coldly snorted. Who was it that didn't know the difference between life and death? Get out here. Two young men. Wanting to obtain the innate spirit fire was just a pipe dream. Get lost obediently and this old man will spare your lives. Endless black flames condensed in the sky, forming an old man. In his hand, a pagoda floated up and down. The people outside the valley were horrified. Who was this? The real great sage was here. His name is Demon Mountain. Not only is he the great sage, but he is also very terrifying. He is ranked 5,000 on the Saint Origin ranking. What? How terrifying was his strength to be able to be ranked on the Saint Origin ranking? Not to mention being ranked 5,000th. He was definitely a terrifying existence. Those two young men were in danger. Yes, although those two had the combat strength of the great sage, they were still lacking compared to the real great sage. Not to mention Demon Mountain's terrifying victory. Even if they were in the same realm, the gap between them was huge. Some people could instantly kill experts of the same realm. Demon Mountain was a terrifying existence among the great sage. Hearing the discussion outside, Demon Mountain sneered. Did you hear that? This old man is not someone you can challenge. Get lost quickly. As he spoke, the black flames under his feet turned into a hellfire python, bearing its fangs and claws. Sigh, reckless. Looks like I have to use some tricks. Yenryu sighed. Lin Xian sneered too. How dare you be arrogant in front of me just because you are ranked 5,000th? Get lost. The people outside had all gone crazy. These two youngsters were too reckless. Demon Mountain's face darkened. It had been a long time since anyone dared to challenge him. Since the two of them wanted to die, he would fulfill their wishes. In his opinion, the two of them were just reckless. But this time, he was wrong. These two young men could not be looked at with ordinary eyes. Yenryu was mysterious and had a super weapon. And Lin Xian was ranked 3,000 on the Saint Origin ranking. Compared to Demon Mountain, he was much higher. The black flames that filled the sky condensed and covered the sky, enveloping the entire valley. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people retreated. At this moment, they did not dare to go forward. Because the hellfire python in front was too terrifying. After the hellfire, these people would be turned into ashes. A mere hellfire dared to fight against a true dragon. Lin Xian laughed. The 10,000 dragon bloodline behind him exploded once again. He swept through everything. Are they from the dragon clan? The great sage of Demon Mountain frowned and sneered. Dragons would be killed too. He waved the black pagoda in his hand. This was his weapon, the great sage's weapon. With this attack, the power of the hellfire became even more terrifying. It was the great sage's weapon. The people outside felt the aura and were even more terrified. Although they could not see, they knew that the battle would end soon. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, the heaven-devouring jar appeared. A terrifying aura exploded and swallowed all the hellfire in the sky. Then, with an even more terrifying power, it rushed towards the great sage of Demon Mountain. Damn it, you can actually block my great sage's weapon. Demon Mountain was shocked. He realized that Lin Xian also had an incredible treasure. After dealing with this woman, he rushed towards Yenryu. Yen Ryu snorted. A green lotus appeared behind her and swayed gently. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The great sage of Demon Mountain's body instantly turned into a bloody mist. Even his weapon, the pagoda, became dim and was even about to shatter. He became terrified as if he had seen the most terrifying thing in the world. Half of his saint blood burned, cutting off heaven and earth. The other half carried his soul and the great sage's weapon and escaped. The void broke open and Demon Mountain fled like a stray dog. The people outside were stunned. What was that black shadow? It seemed to be the great sage of Demon Mountain. Was he injured and fled? Everyone was dumbfounded. They did not dare to believe it. Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei sucked in a cold breath. What happened inside? Such a shocking scene was hard to believe. Chapter 4791. In the valley, Yen Ryu looked at Lin Xian in shock. Heaven-devouring jar. You managed to get it. She was really surprised. Lin Xian was even more shocked. Firstly, she recognized the heaven-devouring jar instantly. That surprised him. Secondly, the green lotus that appeared behind her was way too terrifying. It sent chills down his spine. He felt that his great dragon sword spirit was weak. It seemed like Yen Ryu's trump card was really strong. I wonder what the true identity of this woman is. Alright, take the connate spirit fire. Yen Ryu smiled. The green lotus behind her had already disappeared. Lin Xian nodded. He controlled the heaven-devouring jar and started to devour the connate spirit fire. The connate spirit fire was equally terrifying. Its power was not any weaker than the great sage's. It was even more terrifying than the great sage of the Demon Mountain. However, Lin Xian and Yen Ryu had many tricks up their sleeves. It was not a problem for them to control the connate spirit fire. For the rest of the time, the two of them cultivated in the Spirit Ruin Valley. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. The people outside had already left. It was not that they did not want to go in. It was just that they could sense a fatal danger. Not to mention them, even the great sage would not be able to go in. Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei left as well. There was no need for them to wait there any longer. Only the Spirit Ruin Valley in front of them had turned into a land of death. There were towering flames that rumbled continuously. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Lin Xian was still absorbing the connate spirit fire. On the other hand, Saint Origin Ancient City was bustling again. It was time for the test of the 3 main orthodoxies. They wondered how many geniuses would be able to enter this year. The True Path sect was still bustling with activity. There were 2 figures. One of them was surrounded by ice that made one shiver. As for the other person, there was a red leaf circling around his fingertip. With a smile on his face, the 2 of them entered the testing ground. They passed successfully. Not only that, the 2 of them started to challenge the experts on the stars ranking the next day. Both of them successfully killed the stars ranking. One of them was ranked 100th on the stars ranking while the other was ranked 87th. This caused the people of the Tao sect to go into an uproar. Another top-tier genius had come this time. Heavens, that man with the red leaf was even more terrifying. Fairy Zhiyu was even more terrifying. So what? Currently, Fairy Zhiyu was ranked 30th on the new list. It wasn't something that these newcomers could do. Senior Brother Fu, this is indeed the Tao sect. It's really strong. Every single person here is much stronger than the ones we've seen before. Lu Yuan looked at the figures in front of him with excitement. Fu Hongye also took a deep breath. It's fine. Although we've just entered, we'll definitely strive for greater heights. These two people were Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan. Previously, the two of them had been cultivating in the Xiantian pavilion. From the looks of it, they had already left the Xiantian pavilion. He began to travel around the buried Emperor star. On the 10th day of his arrival at the Dao sect, a piece of news swept over. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan were both shocked. It was said that a lot of treasures were lost in the Dragon Palace overnight. They saw a monkey appearing and disappearing like a ghost and were now chasing it with all their might. There was even a cauldron of pills condensed from more than 10 types of dragon blood that had been stolen. The people of the Dragon Palace went crazy. This cauldron of pills was meant for the Dragon Crown Prince. Now that it was lost, they couldn't bear the consequences. Thus, they searched frantically. If they caught that monkey, they definitely wouldn't let him go. Divine Residence. The dark red dragon and the others were anxiously waiting. That fellow Little White had been gone for so long. Was there any problem? The toad said, "Don't worry, little guy. He might not be good at other things, but he's definitely good at finding treasures." Just as he was speaking, a white figure jumped onto his head. "It's back!" the toad exclaimed. The dark red dragon waved his hand and a formation enveloped the residence. He said, "How is it?" Little White took down the treasure bowl and poured out the things inside, piling them up into a small mountain. Nalan Liang's eyes were wide open. Yuren was also so frightened that his scalp went numb. When had he ever seen so many treasures? He probably hadn't received so many rewards in 10 years. Little White carried a few good-looking fruits and said, "These are mine. You guys can split the rest." "Little guy, you did well." The toad's mouth was crooked from smiling. The eyes of the dark red dragon and the others were also shining. These things were definitely a shocking amount of wealth. In particular, he found a pill furnace that was emitting smoke. When he opened it, he found 9 pills, each of them sparkling and translucent. There seemed to be a dragon's shadow revolving around it. What a terrifying pill! Nalan Liang and the others were shocked. The dark red dragon's eyes also lit up. It was made from more than 10 types of dragon blood. It was a great supplement. Little White blinked his big eyes as if it was delicious. However, it looked too ugly. He looked at the beautiful spirit fruit in his hand and the radiant dragon core. It seemed to be very difficult to decide. At this time, the entire sky outside rang out. Roars rang out one after another. Terrifying souls hid the sky and covered the earth as they searched. The formation kept shaking. Nalan Liang's scalp went numb. What was going on outside? Yuren said, "I'll go out and investigate." He walked out of the formation and quickly investigated. Soon, he came back with a pale face. The people of the Dragon Palace had gone crazy. The toad said, "It must be because of this furnace of pills." Nalan Liang said, "Why don't we hand it over? This pill looks extraordinary. If we really take it, the Dragon Palace will go crazy and attack us." The dark red dragon said, "Don't be afraid. How can we hand over something that's already in our hands? Besides, do they have evidence?" The dark red dragon took out 2 dragon cores. He said, "Leave these 2 for Lin Brat. We'll quickly divide the rest." If they couldn't find evidence, it would be slander. They were all dumbfounded. Nalan Liang and Yuren also said, "Do we have a share too?" The toad said, "Of course. Everyone has a share in the divine abode. Boss, you'll be my big brothers forever." Nalan Liang exclaimed. Yuren was so emotional that he cried. "I'll follow you forever." Next, Nalan Liang and the fishmen each got 1. The remaining ones were divided between the dark red dragon, the toad, and Little White. 2 were left for Lin Xian. After these people swallowed, they felt as if a volcano was erupting in their bodies. It was as if their meridians were about to shatter. Damn, what terrifying power! Roar, roar, roar. At the same time, endless dragon roars came from their bodies, resounding through the 9 heavens. Not good. The toad and the others' expressions changed. They didn't expect the power of this pill to be beyond their imagination. The sound spread out instantly. It was too late for them to use the formation to suppress it. Everyone in the Dao sect heard it. It was as if 10,000 dragons were born. Damn it! When the people of the Dragon Palace heard this sound, their eyes turned red. They rushed over. When they arrived at the divine abode and saw the terrifying dragon aura below, they all roared. Chapter 4792. Kill. They attacked. The array below rolled and released a terrifying force that forced them to retreat. The people from Dragon Palace were shocked. This was impossible. This array formation was too terrifying. Who was the one who set it up? They were discovered. The dark red divine dragon's expression changed. In the next moment, they kept their treasures and looked as if they were facing a great enemy. The people inside, listen up. Get the hell out here. How dare you steal the treasures of Dragon Palace? You must be tired of living. Exclamations and angry voices could be heard. The people from Path Sect were also shocked. Who are these people? How dare they target Dragon Palace? Someone said that this was Bai Zhen's residence in the past, but it was snatched away by Lin Xian and the rest. Are they Lin Xian and the rest? They were shocked. These people are too daring. What should we do? Nalan Liang and the rest were terrified. Should we teleport away first? No, the surroundings have been sealed. The dark red divine dragon frowned. He looked around and then flew into the sky. Through the formation, he looked outside. Why did you come to my residence? How dare you steal the treasures of Dragon Palace? Hand them over obediently and kowtow to me. Otherwise, you are dead. What a joke. Which eye of yours saw me steal your treasures? Take out the evidence. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. The dragon's roar is the evidence. The dark red divine dragon laughed. Are you crazy? What kind of evidence is the dragon's roar? I am a dragon. Can't I sing here? With that, the dark red divine dragon roared a few more times. The terrifying dragon's roar shook the 9 heavens, causing everyone's blood to freeze. This guy's bloodline is so strong. The people from Path Sect were shocked. Someone said, I think Dragon Palace made a mistake. It is indeed the dragon's roar. This dragon must have been cultivating some kind of secret technique. The people from Dragon Palace looked cold. Are you trying to lie to us? Then we will search for you personally. They flew down and attacked the array quickly. The array shook. Although it was set up by Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon, it was powerful. However, if the people from Dragon Palace continued attacking, it would be broken soon. After all, there were too many people from Dragon Palace. Damn it, what should I do? Nalan Liang gritted his teeth. The toad said. He was going to fight it out with them. However, Yuren stepped forward. Brother Long, Brother Toad, there was no need to fight with them. The Dao sect had its rules. He took a deep breath and shouted at the people from the Dragon Palace outside. According to the rules of the True Path sect, the residence was protected and no one was allowed to attack. Otherwise, they would be killed without mercy. Yuren had a nervous expression. To be honest, he did not dare to resist the people of Dragon Palace. But these days, when he was with Lin Xian and the others, he gradually became more confident. Furthermore, Lin Xian and the others treated him very well. They even gave him dragon pills to eat. At the critical moment, he had to step up. Compared to Nalan Liang, the dark red divine dragon and the others, Yuren had arrived a few years earlier. Thus, he was more familiar with the rules of the Tao sect. Upon hearing this, the dark red divine dragon asked, "Is what you said true?" Yuren nodded. It was absolutely true. As long as he stayed here for a while, he would know the rules of the Tao sect. Indeed, as one of the three great orthodoxies, how could the orthodoxies kill each other? The World Tao sect definitely wouldn't allow that. Unless it was a battle of life and death, even if it was a challenge for ranking, it was impossible to kill. Ha! The toad was amused. He jumped up and said, "If you dare to attack the people of Dragon Palace again, don't blame us for informing the elders. Let the Tao sect punish you." Damn it! The people of Dragon Palace gritted their teeth. They stared at Yuren. Originally, they thought that the toad, the dark red divine dragon and the others had just arrived and definitely did not understand the rules. Who would have thought that the other party would bring out the sect rules in an instant? Let them attack again. The surrounding people were also discussing spiritedly. Just you wait. Don't think that we can't attack because of the sect rules. One day, you will regret it. The people of Dragon Palace gritted their teeth and hurried back to report to Lon Zilu. After hearing this, Lon Zilu's expression changed drastically. Even something as important as the dragon pill was lost. The Dragon Crown Prince would definitely be furious when he found out. Someone at the side said, "Why don't we quickly attack and kill our way in before the elders react and snatch the dragon pill back?" No. Lon Zilu shook his head. Although he was a member of Dragon Palace, they did not dare to challenge the rules of the Tao sect. How about this? Gather all the people on the stars ranking and hold a gathering. Weren't that dragon and toad on the stars ranking? At that time, they would have to participate. This way, they could directly challenge them, defeat them, suppress them, or even cripple them. Everything made sense. Lon Zilu's eyes emitted a biting cold radiance. The other party was still far from being able to fight with Dragon Palace. Yes, we understand. My subordinates, hurry up and take action. In an instant, the undercurrent in the Tao sect was surging. A gathering regarding the stars ranking was quickly starting. Spirit Void Valley was covered in flames and became a land of death. There were no living creatures in the surroundings. Even the demonic beasts had left. On this day, in the valley, two figures opened their eyes one after another. Lin Xian stood up and roared towards the sky. The 9 suns' divine fire on his body became even more terrifying. His 9 suns' divine body had improved. His physique and strength were even stronger than before. If he were to meet Bai Li Fei now, he would probably be able to completely crush him with just his strength. He was confident that he could defeat him with one punch. The increase in strength caused Lin Xian's eyes to emit a piercing radiance. Previously, in the Sacred Abyss Tower, he had already reached the 3000th rank. Now, it seemed that he could continue to strive for it. On the other side, Yen Ryu's lips curled into a smile. As expected of the innate spiritual fire. It actually helped me break through my bottleneck. What are your plans next? Lin Xian asked with a smile. He said that there was a Sacred Abyss Tower in wholly distant ancient city. It was very unique. Why don't you go and try it? Yen Ryu shook her head. No need. I have another cultivation method. What about you? She looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said that he was going to return to the Dao sect to rest for a few days before going to the Sacred Abyss Tower. Why don't you follow me back to the Dao sect? Yan Ryu nodded. I also want to see the legendary three great orthodoxies. The two of them soared into the sky and left the Spirit Void Valley. At the same time, the terrifying flames in the Spirit Void Valley disappeared from the world. Dao sect. It became more lively as the experts returned. A grand event was about to begin. The Dragon Palace was hosting the Stars Ranking Gathering. Divine Talisman. The Crimson Divine Dragon and the Toad naturally received the invitation as well. The Crimson Divine Dragon's face turned cold. Humph. Are they trying to get us to go out? Nalan Liang said that we don't need to bother with them. We'll just shut ourselves in and see what they can do. However, the Crimson Divine Dragon frowned. He said that we must go. Don't forget our goal. We will definitely establish a sect in the future. That will take in many people. Chapter 4793. Indeed, everyone nodded their heads. However, the Toad said that we don't have enough people. Although we are strong individually, we will be at a disadvantage if the other party attacks us one after another. Don't worry, I have already sent a message to Lin Xian. He said that he is on his way back. Is that brat coming back? They all heaved a sigh of relief. They were well aware of Lin Xian's strength. Since the other party was back, there shouldn't be much danger on their side. At this moment, the array outside flickered again. Someone is coming. The dark red divine dragon frowned. Are they from the Dragon Palace? Are they here again? A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the two figures outside, he was stunned. Who are they? Nalan Liang was puzzled. The dark red divine dragon smiled. This was Lin Xian's former fellow disciple and also an old friend. With a wave of his hand, the formation opened, and he flew over at the same time. The two of you actually came here. Brother Long, it really is you. The two people who came were Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan. Previously, they hadn't known that the dark red dragon and the others were also in the Dao sect. However, when the Dragon Palace had attacked them, they had been among the crowd watching and had seen the dark red dragon through the array. They were astonished. Fu Hongya asked, "Where is the young Uncle Master? Is he here?" On the way back, the dark red dragon waved his hand. It's even better that you guys are here. This way, our three unions will have another force. These two people were also on the same side. The dark red dragon quickly explained the situation. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan immediately nodded after hearing it. No problem, we will naturally stand on the young Uncle Master's side. From now on, we will be part of the Divine Union. Alright, let's get ready to participate in this stars ranking gathering. In the Dragon Palace, inside a spiritual mountain. A lady in blue waved her hand. Around her was an extremely terrifying ice domain. There were all kinds of snowy mountains and valleys inside that could freeze everything. A sage king would probably be turned into an ice sculpture in an instant if he were to enter this place. BP, 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 boom. Not only that, but the ice and snow in the ice domain condensed into two ice dragons. They roared between heaven and earth, their terrifying aura shocking everyone. BP, 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 Ice Dragon Palm. With a single palm strike, two ice dragons flew out. Wherever they passed, the world would be frozen. The lady in blue retracted her palm and heaved a sigh of relief. The aura of the Tao of Dragon was indeed strong. His attack wasn't any weaker than a peerless divine ability. Little sister, it seems like your strength has increased again. Longilu walked over and said with a smile. You can show off your brilliance in this stars ranking gathering. Lan Zhiyu nodded. She said, this time, I have the confidence to fight for the top 10. Her beautiful eyes flickered. Then she said, brother, do you think that Lin Xian will come? Lan Zhiyu's eyes flashed with a cold light when he spoke of the other party. That coward hadn't appeared for a few times already. Lan Zhilu said, regardless of whether he comes or not, the people around him will definitely die. Brother, if he comes, let me do it personally. I will let him know the difference between us. Don't worry, I'll leave him to you. Lan Zhilu said indifferently. He was very confident in his sister. In another part of the forest, a dreamlike man walked out. Beside him, many demonic beasts had collapsed, and their bodies no longer had any signs of life. In the distance, a few Dao sect disciples saw this scene and felt their scalps go numb. This person's soul was so terrifying. BP, BP, who is he? He should have entered the Dao sect with Fairy Zhiyu. He was called the Dream Eater Wolf. After coming, he was even more low-key than Lin Xian. It was as if he had not appeared at all. Who would have thought that he would be so terrifying? I feel that he can enter the top 0 of the stars ranking gathering. The stars ranking gathering this time was really lively. Fairy Zhiyu's strength had increased greatly. She would probably be even more terrifying. Now, another Dream Eater Wolf had appeared. There was also Lin Xian's friends. They were all very terrifying. He didn't know what the final result would be. Some people exclaimed while others sneered. Don't worry, no matter how strong they were not a match for the Dragon Palace. At this moment, many people were rushing towards the Dao sect. Lin Xian and Yan Ryu were among them. The two of them weren't moving very fast. Because they did not care. Instead, they were very calm, as if they were playing. It was also Yan Ryu's first time in Holy Abyss City. Lin Xian had been to a few sages' ruins before. So, he was leading Yan Ryu to experience and comprehend the sages' laws. At this time, the sound of fighting suddenly came from the forest in front of them. Lin Xian looked down and saw a purple demonic bull roaring at the sky. Its terrifying killing intent swept out in all directions. His opponent was a man. The sword technique in his hand was like a nimble snake, constantly attacking. As he fought, he retreated. Although he was at a disadvantage, he was still able to handle it with ease. Someone from the Dao sect. Seeing the clothes and totems on these people, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. However, that wasn't what he was concerned about. What he was concerned about was the purple demonic bull. Something was wrong. It seemed to be controlled. BP, 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 what Yan Ryu said as she looked down in shock. Someone had taken control of this demonic beast and even changed its soul. Lin Xian was surprised. He did not expect Yan Ryu to notice it in an instant. He also nodded. Chapter 4794. A figure streaked across the sky like a bolt of lightning, splitting everything in its path. The purple thunder demonic bull's huge body was split in half and fell to the ground. The earth split open and blood flowed everywhere. Was it dead? The spirit snake youth was stunned, then he smiled. Great, it was his senior brother. He turned his head and saw a man in a white robe walking in the air towards him. It was him. He looked at Lin Xian and said, "Young man, sometimes you have to know when to advance and when to retreat. With your strength, you can't fight against this demonic bull. So the next time you meet such a demonic beast, try to escape." In his opinion, the only reason Lin Xian and the others were able to survive this time was because he had intervened. Otherwise, they would have died without a doubt. Lin Xian said, I just felt that this lightning bolt was a little strange, so I wanted to investigate it. He was telling the truth, but the other party shook his head and sneered. He really didn't know what was good for him. The spirit snake youth said, looking at your clothes, you must be from the Dao sect. We are too. This is my senior brother, He Yunxiao. He is ranked 3rd in the Dao sect. He Yunxiao also looked at Lin Xian. You are also from the Dao sect. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. I just joined the Dao sect. He Yunxiao understood. So you are a new disciple. Forget it, you are lucky to meet me. There are a few demonic beasts here that are not weaker than this lightning bolt. If you go alone, it will be very dangerous. Follow me. After saying this, he looked forward. Actually, he wasn't looking at Lin Xian, but Yan Ryu. Yan Ryu's jade-like beauty shocked even him. He asked, I wonder who this fairy is. I am his friend. Yan Ryu said indifferently, not paying much attention to him. He Yunxiao was surprised. He didn't expect Lin Xian, a middle-stage Saint King, to have such a beautiful friend. However, he didn't mind her cold attitude. Maybe she came from somewhere else and hadn't seen many geniuses. He believed that as long as he displayed some strength, she would fall in love with him. Let's go. He Yunxiao will lead the way. The spirit snake youth also walked over and said, how was it? That one-hit sure kill move just now, isn't it powerful? That's my senior brother's ultimate technique. White crane palm. Are you shocked? Lin Xian said, not paying much attention. Indeed, he didn't pay attention to He Yunxiao. Although He Yunxiao was ranked 3rd on the stars ranking, he didn't put him in his eyes at all. He was curious from the beginning. Who changed the soul of this demonic bowl? Didn't care. That young man was stunned. Then, he said, you said you didn't see it clearly, right? That's true. With your cultivation, how could you have seen it clearly? You can't keep up with my speed. Finally, he said, you're going to watch the stars list gathering this time, right? At that time, you will see my senior brother shine again. Up ahead. He Yunxiao also smiled. This time, he had the confidence to fight for first place. Therefore, when the time came for him to display his powerful strength, this beautiful woman would come to his side. Seeing the two of them so proud, Lin Xian felt that it was funny. Beside him, Yan Ryu also shook her head slightly. They were indeed people from 2 different worlds. It was just that they were in the sky while the other party was on the ground. Lin Xian didn't say anything. After all, he was going to return to the Dao sect. It was good to let the other party lead the way. It would save him a lot of trouble. At this moment, the Dao sect was completely bustling. The experts on the stars list had all returned. There were also some who were training outside. This time, they were going to compete. Stars list. They were going to be famous. Near the ancient arena, there were many spectator stands. Some places were even condensed by the laws, forming pavilions and palaces. Some floated in the clouds, while others stood on the ground. The people sitting here were all extraordinary. The top 10 on the stars list each had their own palace. As the 3rd on the stars list, He Yunxiao naturally had his own palace. At this moment, he led Lin Xian and the others into the palace. Some Dao sect disciples surrounded them. Apart from that, there were also some battle servants and maids. These were all He Yunxiao's subordinates. As the new 3rd on the stars list, He Yunxiao also opened his own palace. At this moment, these subordinates were serving tea and water. The spirit snake youth looked at Lin Xian. The two of them said, "Take a seat." Suddenly, he realized that the two of them had already sat down. They didn't seem to be nervous at all. These two guys were really strange. However, they probably didn't know what was going to happen. Although Lin Xian was a Dao sect disciple, he had just joined the sect not long ago. He probably didn't even know what the stars list was. When his senior brother revealed his identity, this guy would probably be scared silly. He couldn't wait to see Lin Xian and Lin Xian's shocked expressions. Thinking of this, the spirit snake youth ran over and asked, "Senior brother, this time we have a chance to fight for the top spot, right?" He Yunxiao said, "Yes. This time, I'm stronger than before." However, he didn't know how many experts would appear this time. The spirit snake youth said, "I heard that Fairy Zhe is very powerful. She will definitely be able to enter the top 10 this time. She might even be able to enter the top 5. I'm afraid that when she grows up, she will be able to dominate the world." He Yunxiao nodded. Fairy Zhe was indeed very talented. It wouldn't be a problem for her to enter the top 5. However, to dominate the world, I'm afraid not. Right now, your eyes are only on the Dao sect. Other than the Dao sect, there are 2 other orthodoxies. There's even the scarier glory list. That's where the real experts compete. Countless great sage cultivators look forward to it. If you can enter the glory list, even if it's the last place, you'll be able to dominate the world. So powerful. The spirit snake youth and the others were stunned. They didn't know that the Lin Xian they looked down on was the 3,000th person on the glory list. If they knew, they would probably be scared silly. Someone was coming. Suddenly, He Yunxiao raised his head and looked outside. A group of people walked in majestically from the outside. Their auras were extremely majestic. Many people moved aside. It was the people from the Dragon Palace. The spirit snake youth looked over and exclaimed. Fairy Zhe was among them. At this moment, Lan Zhe was dressed up meticulously. She looked like an ice goddess. The cold aura around her frightened many people. Fairy Zhe. Outside, many disciples of the Dao sect had already started shouting and becoming her followers. They couldn't help it. Fairy Zhe was beautiful and talented. A fairy like her would naturally be pursued by many. He Yunxiao raised his head and looked over. His eyes were burning with passion. However, he then looked at Yen Ryu. He thought to himself, Fairy Zhe is also a genius. However, compared to this woman in white, she's still lacking. Moreover, this woman in white was obviously inexperienced. Hence, he felt that he had a higher chance of winning Yen Ryu. Thinking of this, he decided that he would perform well later. Chapter 4795. Not only Lan Zhiyu, but many experts from the Dragon Palace had also come. Even Lan Zilu had come personally. He occupied the best palace and led everyone to their seats. Many people exclaimed. He Yunxiao's pupils constricted. Did Lan Zilu come personally? He might not care about Lan Zhiyu as he thought that Lan Zhiyu was weaker than him, but he was terrified of Lan Zilu. Lan Zhiyu was ranked 24th on the Jade list. His strength was terrifying. If Lan Zilu wanted to kill him, he could do it in one move. How could he not be terrified of such a person? However, this was a gathering of the stars list. Lan Zhiyu was here to hold the fort and would not attack. The only person he had to pay attention to was Buping Fan, who was ranked first on the new list. That person was unfathomable. He had fought with Buping Fan a few times and had lost. However, he would definitely win this time. The Dragon Palace was indeed the most terrifying force in the Tao sect. Their appearance frightened and envious the surrounding people. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon and the others had also arrived. They looked ahead and snorted. "Why are you so arrogant? One day, we will trample all of you under our feet." Lu Yuan, who was at the side, asked. "I wonder if little martial uncle is here." The dark red divine dragon said, "He should be here." Lin Xian did not meet up with them, so they were not sure. However, they knew that Lin Xian would not miss this opportunity. Suddenly, they frowned as they felt a sharp gaze from the Dragon Palace shrouding them. It was filled with killing intent. The people around the dark red divine dragon immediately made way. A vacuum appeared in the originally crowded area. Who are these people? How did they offend the Dragon Palace? Don't you know? He is Lin Xian's friend. What? These are Lin Xian's friends. Where is Lin Xian? Is he here? Countless people were shocked. So, the Dragon Palace was dealing with this group of people. In the palace, Lan Jiyu stood up and looked ahead. She saw the dark red divine dragon, the toad, and two unfamiliar men. However, she did not see Lin Xian. She frowned and asked coldly, "Where is Lin Xian? Did he not appear?" The toad snorted coldly. "Even without him, I can teach you a lesson." The crimson divine dragon sneered. "You want him to appear? Let's see if the Dragon Palace has the ability." How arrogant! The people of Dragon Palace gnashed their teeth. Someone snorted coldly. "I think he's a coward. He doesn't dare to come at all." The others were also discussing spiritedly. They had never seen Lin Xian fight before, except for the fact that he was ranked first in the test. After coming in, they never heard anything about him again. In their opinion, the other party had either run out of ideas or used despicable means to enter. He did not have much strength at all. "Alright, there's no need to talk nonsense with them. Let's begin," Lan Zilu said indifferently from behind. He sat there like a supreme emperor, controlling everything. The people of Dragon Palace nodded. A man walked out and said loudly, "Today, all the masters on the stars list of Dragon Palace are gathered together." It was all for the sake of holding a grand event. At the same time, he also felt that there were many geniuses who had become Tao sect disciples. Was the stars ranking going to be updated? As soon as these words were spoken, countless people were in an uproar. As expected, they wondered what kind of exciting battle was going to happen next. As for the rules, everyone should be clear about it. According to the rules of Tao sect, no killing was allowed. Alright, I wonder who would like to challenge first. As soon as these words were spoken, many people's eyes lit up. They had been waiting for this day for a long time. Some of the masters had been training hard so that they could be ranked on the stars list and become famous. At this moment, someone stood out. "I'll do it." This person had terrifying thunder on him. He challenged the person ranked 92nd on the stars list right away. Both of them fought fiercely and this man with thunder actually succeeded. This made the atmosphere even more heated. In an instant, many people stepped out to challenge the new masters on the stars list. Two figures stood on a mountain peak far away. They were Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei. Both of them looked at the battle in front of them with flickering eyes. Although they were not interested in such a battle, they were very concerned about it. Although these people were weaker than them, they were all top-notch masters and geniuses in the outside world. This was enough to show how terrifying the three main orthodoxies were. The Tao sect was not ordinary. Qing Feng said that the Dragon Palace was terrifying. They had the Dragon Prince and the Dragon Prince. The dragon prince had the ancient desolate body and was extremely terrifying. The dragon prince was even more terrifying. The emperor's son. The only one who could compete with him was Kuenpingzi. It seemed like the princess of Phoenix territory would have to fight with them. As an emperor race, Phoenix Ridge also had a princess. Now that the princess had awakened, her strength might not be weaker than Kuenpingzi and the dragon prince. However, she did not come to Saint Distant Ancient City to cultivate. Bai Li Fei said. Although the Sky Rock clan is not an emperor race, this time, the number one person of the Sky Rock clan could definitely compete with the emperor's son. He might even be able to slay a dragon. He had absolute confidence in the number one genius of his clan. His opponent was much stronger than him. He might even become a great emperor. In the third palace, Lin Xian looked at the scene outside and nodded slightly. His eyes flickered as he watched every battle seriously. Although these people were not as strong as him, each of them had their own merits. Lin Xian wanted to play to their strengths and avoid their weaknesses. He would not underestimate the people of the world. The spirit snake youth beside him shook his head when he saw Lin Xian watching so seriously. He was indeed a newcomer. Such a scene had already shocked him. If his senior brother made a move later, he would be scared to tears. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen battles had passed. Some people challenged experts on the stars ranking and succeeded, becoming famous. Some people were seriously injured and would not be able to recover in a few months. At this moment, Lan Zhiyu stood up from the Dragon Palace. She felt that there was no need to wait any longer. It was time to start. Lan Zhiyu's figure flashed and she came to the arena. Countless people exclaimed. Look, it's Fairy Zhiyu. Is Fairy Zhiyu going to fight? Go Fairy Zhiyu. Fairy Zhiyu, you will definitely make it to the top 10 this time. Cries of surprise rang out one after another. Lan Zhiyu looked at the person and said, Get down. You are not my opponent. That person left the arena obediently. Lan Zhiyu looked around and said coldly, Who wants to challenge me? She looked around and no one dared to respond. Then I will challenge you personally. She was currently ranked 29th. She looked at the person ranked 20th and said, Come over. The person ranked 20th was also a woman. She was dressed in red and her body was covered in flames. She turned into a flaming vermilion bird. She flew between heaven and earth. Her terrifying aura made people despair. Lan Zhiyu looked at the other. She did not care at all. She smiled. Chapter 4796. Hearing this, the surrounding people were in an uproar. The woman in red was no ordinary person. She was ranked 20th. How terrifying was she? The woman in red snorted. Lan Zhiyu, don't you think you're too arrogant? I want to see how strong you are to make me admit defeat. With that, she rushed over. Terrifying flames shot out of her palms, turning into a vermilion bird that danced in the air. Lan Zhiyu snorted and threw out 3 palms, freezing the entire world. The vermilion bird's flames and the woman in red were all frozen. The surrounding people were stunned. Was it over? In just 3 moves, Lan Zhiyu had won. This method was too terrifying. Some people exclaimed. Fairy Zhiyu's strength had indeed increased by leaps and bounds. She had a chance to enter the top 10. Too powerful. As expected of my goddess. In the ice, the woman in red used all her strength to say, I admit defeat. Lan Zhiyu waved his hand and the ice melted. The woman in red landed on the ground, her face pale. Her internal organs had all been severely injured. She looked at her opponent with a terrified expression. It had only been a little over a year, and the other party had already become so powerful. Lan Ziyu didn't forget about her and continued to challenge her. Come at me, ranked 15th. In an instant, the battle erupted again. Countless people were shocked. In the third hall, the spiritual snake youth clenched his fists. Senior brother, Fairy Ziyu is too powerful. How did she grow so quickly in a year? When can I reach her level? He Yunxiao said. She was Lan Zilu's younger brother and a genius of the Blue Clan. Plus, she entered the Dragon Palace and cultivated the aura of the Tao of Dragon. How could she be slow? But compared to me, she's still far behind. I can defeat her in 10 moves. He Yunxiao's eyes were filled with confidence. Then he glanced at Yan Ryu, hoping to attract her attention. But he found that Yan Ryu didn't care at all. Instead, she was chatting and laughing with Lin Xian. This made He Yunxiao's eyes turn cold. Damn it. He couldn't wait any longer. In front, the battle continued. The person ranked 15th was defeated. Then, Lan Ziyu challenged the person ranked 9th. They exchanged 300 moves. Lan Ziyu won. At this moment, her face was somewhat pale and she was also injured, but she had finally succeeded in entering the top 10. Lan Ziyu's lips curled into a smile. He had achieved his goal this time. Countless people cried out in surprise, frantically shouting Lan Ziyu's name. This was because they knew that Lan Ziyu had created a miracle and directly charged his way into the top 10 of the stars ranking in slightly more than a year. There were very few of them in history. In the future, his achievements would be limitless. He would definitely be able to enter the Xian ranking. Those from the Dragon Palace were also excited. Lan Zilu nodded his head in satisfaction. Said Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei on a mountain peak in the distance. They were all geniuses from the Blue Clan. From the looks of it, her talent wasn't any worse than Lan Zilu's. In the future, she would be the second Lan Zilu. The two of them nodded and commented. They didn't seem too surprised. Because in their opinion, such a genius was very good, but he was still unable to compete with them. In the arena, Lan Ziyu looked down after achieving her goal. She stared at the dark red dragon and the others and asked coldly, I'll ask again. Is Lin Xian not here yet? There's no need for Lin Xian. I can teach you a lesson. The toad jumped out. The dark red dragon also said, Do you think you're very powerful? You're only ranked 9th. We don't put you in our eyes. Indeed, the two of them hadn't used their full strength in the previous battle. At this moment, they were ready to attack. However, Lan Ziyu snorted coldly, You're not worthy for me to attack. She didn't put a toad in her eyes. She only wanted to challenge Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't appear. She could only say, Humph, coward. From now on, he's not worthy to be my opponent. The surrounding people were in an uproar as they discussed. This Lin Xian was definitely a coward. On a mountain peak in the distance, Qing Feng and Bai Li Fei frowned when they heard the name Lin Xian. Qingqing's taste wasn't good. She actually chose such a man. Bai Li Fei sneered. After this, he would definitely find that Lin Xian. He was trash. It would be better to just kill him. Qing Feng nodded, he's just an ant. On the arena, Lan Ziyu didn't attack the toad and the dark red dragon. Instead, she looked at the people closer to her. She wanted to continue challenging them. In the third palace, Yan Ryu looked at this scene and smiled. He seems to be challenging you. Aren't you going to go out? Lin Xian shook his head. He's too weak. I'm not interested. The nimble snake youth was stunned when he heard this. Too weak. This guy dared to say that Fairy Ziyu was weak. Did he have eyes? He Yunxiao frowned. How arrogant. However, when he saw Yen Ryu's expression, he couldn't believe it. Damn it, a peerless fairy was actually deceived by a kid. He couldn't stand it. He wanted to go out and prove his strength. He wanted to let Yen Ryu know that he was the real expert. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but stand up and walk out. The nimble snake youth was excited. Great, his senior brother was going to fight. He looked at Lin Xian proudly. Just you wait. I'll show you my senior brother's strength. I'll show you what a peerless expert is. After He Yunxiao went out, he walked into the arena and said, Fairy Ziyu. You must be tired after so many challenges. Why don't you go down and take a rest? I'll fight you next. Countless people exclaimed. It was He Yunxiao, who was ranked third. Was he going to fight too? Everyone was excited. In their eyes, he was a godlike existence. Lan Ziyu frowned. Ranked third. He was giving her a lot of pressure. However, she was proud. How could she go down so easily? She said, if you want me to go down, let's talk with our strength. The ice energy on her body became even more terrifying. It swept forward. If that's the case, then I'll offend you. He Yunxiao roared. His body swayed and he dashed out like a bolt of lightning. Although he knew that defeating Lan Ziyu would offend Dragon Palace, he couldn't wait any longer. He wanted to prove himself in front of Yen Ryu. In front of him, everything was frozen. However, He Yunxiao was nowhere to be seen. So fast. The surrounding people were shocked. Their eyes couldn't catch a trace of He Yunxiao. In the next moment, He Yunxiao appeared behind Lan Ziyu and struck out with his palm. Lan Ziyu felt her hair stand on end. It was so fast that she couldn't react. When she turned around and wanted to fight back, it was too late. This palm strike sent her flying. The void shattered. Lan Ziyu's body landed outside the arena. Her blood was boiling and her face was pale. Was she defeated? Countless people exclaimed. They didn't expect that Ziyu, who was so powerful, couldn't block He Yunxiao's palm. Chapter 4797. Damn it. Lan Ziyu gritted her teeth and wanted to charge forward. Lan Zilu said, Stop, sister. You're not his opponent. I know. Lan Ziyu gritted her teeth. Although she was ranked 9th, there was still a gap between her and the top 3. But she didn't care. She had just entered the sect for a year and was already able to achieve such results. She was definitely the genius who improved the fastest. Her future was limitless. The stars list was only her current ranking. Her final goal was the Xian list. Only by getting on that list could she be proud of the sect. In the third hall, the nimble snake youth clapped happily. He looked at Lin Xian and Lan Ziyu proudly and said, See. My senior brother is very strong. Even Fairy Ziyu couldn't block his palm. This time, he will definitely get first place on the stars list. Not bad. Lin Xian said calmly. To be honest, he didn't care. The nimble snake youth gritted his teeth. Not bad. Brat, do you know what an expert is? On second thought, Lin Xian probably didn't know how powerful his senior brother was. Alright, let's see if you still dare to be arrogant when my senior brother gets first place. At that time, you'll probably faint from fright. Lan Ziyu retreated to recover. Lan Zilu said coldly, he dared to defeat my sister. I have to teach him a lesson. Chonglu, you go. At the command, a tall man from Dragon Palace walked up and came to the arena in a few steps. At the same time, he brought along a terrifying force. The spectators were in an uproar. Wang Zhongluo, ranked second on the stars list. This was going to be a good show. It was going to be a fierce battle. One was ranked second and the other was ranked third. Both of them were equally matched. He Yunxiao squinted his eyes. Wang Zhongluo. All right. I wanted to challenge Baping Fan directly. But I'll defeat you first. Then, I'll challenge the first place on the stars list. It's useless. Wang Zhongluo snorted. You're not my opponent. As he said that, he threw a punch at him. On the other side, He Yunxiao also charged forward. The two of them fought fiercely. Countless people widened their eyes. This was a rare fight between top experts. Gasps of surprise could be heard one after another. Even Lan Ziyu kept nodding her head because she realized that these two people were indeed stronger than her. She did not lose unjustly. Inside the third palace, Spirit Snake stood up excitedly and said, "Did you see that? My senior brother is so powerful." Lin Xian glanced over and shook his head. He was going to lose this round. Lost? Everyone in the palace was stunned. Spirit Snake was furious as well. "Kid, what do you know? Can you see my senior brother's figure clearly? Do you know how powerful my senior brother is? You don't know anything, yet you dare to say that my senior brother lost. Just you wait. Senior brother is going to win. Let's see how he will punish you." The Spirit Snake teenager gritted his teeth and observed again. The battle ahead was extremely horrifying. He Yunxiao was a member of the Crane tribe and his speed was extremely fast. His white crane divine palm could split open heaven and earth. However, Wang Zhongluo was even more terrifying. He was like a demonic god, suppressing heaven and earth. Every punch was like a demonic mountain that swept across the world. Both sides exchanged 100 moves and were evenly matched. However, He Yunxiao's face was extremely ugly. He originally thought that his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. He would be able to defeat his opponent in 100 moves. However, he did not gain the upper hand at all. This gave him a bad feeling. It seemed that he had underestimated his opponent. His strength had improved by leaps and bounds, but so had his opponent. How strong was Baping Fan, who was ranked first, now? He did not dare to think about it. At this moment, Wang Zhongluo grinned. "All right, I'm not interested in fighting with you anymore. Let's end this in one move." Buddha palm. He struck out a palm that covered heaven and earth. The entire void shattered. This was Wang Zhongluo's ultimate skill. Countless people exclaimed. Who could compete with this ultimate skill? Oh no, that He Yunxiao is in danger. He Yunxiao felt immense pressure. He did not dare to be careless and performed his own ultimate skill. White crane divine palm. When the two palms collided, it was as if there were thousands of claps of thunder. The void in the entire arena turned into chaos. Everyone tensed up when they saw a figure retreating and landing directly below the arena. He vomited blood. Who was it? Everyone looked over and exclaimed. He Yunxiao. He was defeated. He Yunxiao was defeated. Countless people were shocked. Previously, He Yunxiao had displayed incredible strength, and everyone thought that he would be able to compete for the first place this time around. However, he could not even defeat Wang Zhongluo, who was ranked second, let alone Baping Fan, who was ranked first. How could it be? In the third palace, Lingxi was stunned as if he had been petrified. His senior brother was defeated. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. This was within his expectations because he had already analyzed the situation of the battle. The people of Dragon Palace were smiling proudly. How could the experts of Dragon Palace be defeated by the opponent? How could it be? I was defeated. He Yunxiao gritted his teeth in disbelief. Had his efforts all these years been in vain? Wang Zhongluo looked at He Yunxiao and said, "Your strength has improved greatly. Unfortunately, after I joined Dragon Palace, my strength improved much faster than yours. Your strength is not bad. Why don't you join Dragon Palace?" Humph. He Yunxiao snorted. Dragon Palace might be a good choice, but he had to think about it carefully. I lost this battle. My skills were not as good as his. He Yunxiao gritted his teeth, cupped his fists, and returned to his palace to treat his injuries. "Senior brother, are you okay?" Ling Shi and the others saw this and quickly went to support He Yunxiao. "I'm fine. I failed this time. Young master must have been careless." "Young master, if you were serious, you wouldn't have lost this time," the battle servants said quickly. The spirit snake youth also said that his senior brother's defeat was definitely because of that fellow. That guy was cursing his senior brother. He said that he would be defeated from the beginning. He Yunxiao heard this and turned to look at Lin Xian. His opponent said that he would be defeated from the beginning. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Lin Xian said indifferently, "I'm not talking about a curse. It's the truth. Your strength is weaker than his and you were so arrogant from the beginning. It's normal for you to lose." "Kid, what did you say?" Ling Shi was furious. He Yunxiao's face darkened. "Are you criticizing me? What right do you have to criticize me?" "Because I'm stronger than you." Lin Xian stood up, looked at the two and said indifferently, "Wang Zhongluo in your eyes is invincible. But in my eyes, he's like an ant. I can suppress it with a wave of my hand." A sharp look appeared in Lan Lujia's eyes. It wasn't just Lin Xian. They wanted to suppress everyone related to Lin Xian. This was the consequence of challenging the Dragon Palace. Here it comes. In the crowd, the dark red divine dragon and the others smiled when they saw Lin Xian. Fu Hongya and Lu Yuan clenched their fists. It was their little martial uncle. They were worried that little Uncle Master would be alright, right? They had seen how terrifying Wang Zhongluo was before. Toad said, "Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Wang Zhongluo is dead meat." Hearing this, the surrounding people went crazy. They looked at Toad and exclaimed. Someone actually thought that Wang Zhongluo would lose. Did water get into his brain? Wang Zhongluo looked at Lin Xian's figure and sneered. "Kid, you want to challenge me? You didn't even enter the stars list. An ant-like existence isn't qualified to challenge me. Get lost." He shouted coldly. His voice was like thunder. The surrounding people laughed. The people from the Dragon Palace snorted. Indeed, in their eyes, Lin Xian was no different from an ant. He Yunxiao, Spirit Snake, and the others sneered. However, Lin Xian didn't care. He calmly walked to the arena and looked at his opponent. "You're the second on the stars list, right? In other words, you're the strongest in the Dragon Palace. However, in my eyes, you're just a so-so. In my eyes, you're no different from an ant. If I want to suppress you, I only need one hand." Lin Xian's voice wasn't loud, but it spread clearly. At this moment, everyone was stunned. The entire place was silent. In the palace, Spirit Snake's eyes almost popped out. He Yunxiao also gasped. Damn, he really dared to say that. That's Wang Zhongluo, someone even more terrifying than me. Isn't he afraid of being killed with a slap? Kid, what did you say? You're courting death. Wang Zhongluo took a step forward. His eyes were emitting a biting cold killing intent. The surrounding people felt their hair stand on end. Their souls were about to split open. At the back, Lan Jiyu sneered. Is this guy an idiot? Lan Jilu snorted. Trash indeed. Such a person deserves to die. Facing the terrifying killing intent, Lin Xian didn't care. He said indifferently, make your move. Use your strongest attack. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. This kid was too arrogant. Everyone felt that he was crazy. Where did this unfamiliar young man get the confidence to challenge Wang Zhongluo? Tell me your name. I won't kill nameless people. Listen carefully. My name is Lin Xian. Lin Xian. The surrounding people were stunned. Then, they exclaimed. Isn't this the person who came in first in the test a year ago? Isn't he a coward? It was said that he disappeared after coming in. Who would have thought that he would appear now? Countless people were in an uproar. This guy must be crazy. Does he really think that this is a test? What a joke. Wang Zhongluo could kill him with one finger. Everyone sneered and shook their heads. Over the past year, the people of the Dragon Palace had been saying that Lin Xian was a coward. So much so that they thought that Lin Xian didn't have much strength. On the mountain peak far away, Qing Feng and Bai Lifei were stunned. Lin Xian. This was the person they were looking for. How could he be so reckless? I want to see what such an idiot looks like. Their eyes shone brightly as they looked over. To be honest, after the battle between Wang Zhongluo and He Yunxiao, they were no longer interested. The top experts on the stars list were only so-so. They could kill them with one slap. So, they didn't pay attention. When Lin Xian appeared, they couldn't be bothered with him. They felt that he was like a fly. Now that they took a closer look. In the next moment, their bodies shook. Bai Lifei was dumbfounded. His eyes were about to fall out. Damn it. How could it be him? Qing Feng also sucked in a breath of cold air. Impossible, he was Lin Xian. The two of them recognized that the young man in front of them was the mysterious man in the Spirit Void Valley. He was the person who had defeated Bai Lifei. Qing Feng also thought that she wasn't his match. They were very curious about the mysterious young man and wanted to know who he was. But after looking around, they couldn't find any clues. Who would have thought that they would meet him again? Moreover, he was the person they were looking for. Lin Xian. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.